Oh my gosh, our live tour to the UK, Ireland and Berlin is on sale right now. We are coming over in November 2024 to do many, many shows. Jess, what cities are we hitting up as I pass the list to you?
Well, Dave, we're going to be hitting Berlin, Edinburgh, Belfast, Dublin, Manchester, Leeds, Birmingham, Bristol and London.
My God.
Huge. Big
They've
tour.
done it.
We haven't been for a few years.
That's
and we've
right.
never been to Belfast and we've never been to Berlin.
Yep.
We've heard both of those places are very nice.
That's right. And they love to sell out shows,
Yes,
right,
they
guys?
do. Yes, they do.
We've heard that because I told you both that. They're great. I've had great times in both places.
Yep. Irish bars in both of them.
Do they have Irish bars
Particularly Belfast.
in Belfast?
Yeah, of course.
Interesting. Well, if you want to join us on this cultural extravaganza, you can get tickets right now at dogoonpod.com.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Do Go On. My name is Dave Warnocky, and as always, I'm here with Matt Stewart. Hello, Matt.
Hey, Dave, how good is it to be alive?
My answer is very good.
Yeah, okay. That's, I'd go higher than that. I'd say really good.
Hey, well, let's get a third opinion here, because this week we are joined by a very special guest. Hello to Lizzy Hoo.
Hello, everyone. It's fantastic to be
Okay.
alive.
Things just
Now
keep
we're
getting
cooking.
better and better.
Now we're cooking. I'm with Lizzy, actually. It is
It's
fantastic.
sunny outside.
It's so good to have you on, Lizzy.
Thank you for
Yeah,
having
it is sunny
me.
outside. And if it was sunny outside, you know what I'd put on? One of my Lizzy Hoo bucket hats.
Oh, yes, you're Asian gracefully.
Yeah, are you giving Dave a
bucket.
pass on that, Lizzy?
Anyone who buys a hat gets a pass.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I
Just
don't
look-
care who you are.
We were talking for a few minutes before we started about your fantastic hats.
Yes.
You've done a photo shoot for them recently?
Yeah, so if you buy a hat, I'll send you a photo.
You get a photo of the hat and a hat.
And a hat.
That costs extra, though.
Yeah, I did do the photo shoot in winter though, and I feel like it's probably more of a summer product.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm wearing like jumpers.
You hosted the gala last year, which is sick. This year.
Yeah, this year.
And any thoughts about wearing the hat as you were hosting? That would have been...
That would have been great, although they do say no logos.
Oh, okay.
So maybe that would have counted as a logo, but I reckon sales would have
Oh, yeah,
skyrocketed.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That could have been big.
No one would have said, why is she wearing a fucking bucket hat? Not at all.
This is your first time on Do Go On, but you have been on the Do Go On quiz and
Yes.
Who Knew It with Matt Stewart. Have you been on a book cheat, Dave's book pod?
No, my book
No.
podcast, but I'm just about to launch a new season, so I'd love to get you on. Basically, I tell you
yes.
about the plot of a classic novel, so you don't have to bother reading, 1984 or Jane Eyre, that kind of thing.
That
Yeah.
would be good. Yes, I'd enjoy that actually.
So
Because I'm not like I don't mind reading, but I'm not much of a reader.
Oh, yeah.
Great, I got you covered.
Okay, this is
Dave's
good.
doing the hard work, so we don't have to.
That's right.
So
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that episode of Who Knew It was so funny because I think you'd just been announced as the host of the gala.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And we I don't know why, but that turned into almost like you were being razzed for it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so actually, in Adelaide.
Yeah, that's right.
And Seren was really.
He was laying them
He
in.
was. I forgot about that.
Getting one of the
Yeah.
best gigs in the whole country.
Yeah, and they were
having
like,
a go.
oh yeah, we're host of the gala here. I hadn't even done it yet. It was all warranted. I get it.
Hey, Lizzy, let me explain how this show
Okay.
works. So, one of us, normally you're Jess, but today you're Lizzy.
Yes. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not off to a good start explaining. But one of the three of us goes away researching a topic that's usually been suggested by a listener, and we just soak up in it. and we bathe in it. Dave's been bathing in his for 3 weeks. He said.
I'm overbathed. I've
weeks.
consumed like too much of this.
You are marinated.
Yeah.
Like I'm 80% this topic.
He's all wrinkly on his fingers.
Yeah.
And then we come back and we do like basically like a high school report. I'd say maybe of a year 9 level. I think one of our negative reviews on that.
Presentation.
Here we go.
Your morning talk.
You get the pie charts and everything. Everyone at home just has to listen to my voice, but you get the benefit of
Oh, great.
And
extra
then our
PowerPoint.
job is, Jess and I normally combine have been dubbed the Sass twins. We just jump in, Sass and Dave, maybe asking questions, maybe going on dog shit riffs. It's one of our specialties.
It's kind of your job. If I'm the Lizzie hosting the gala and you're the Surens, sort of giving me
gosh.
needless
I gotta
shit about it.
Channel my inner surround.
I always get
Okay.
sassed by the Sass twins, but it's a privilege.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, you do, you piece of shit.
Thank you, sir. Can I have another? Thank you. Anyway, sorry, I interrupted there, Matt. You had one final bit to say, and
That's right. And to get on topic, we normally ask a question. Dave, do you have a question this week?
I do have a question. It's a bit tangential to the topic, but to get us onto...
Before you ask, Lizzie, can you confirm we don't know the topic? People sometimes assume we do.
I have no idea what this topic is.
It's not a conspiracy.
No, it's
What
not
a weird conspiracy that would be.
That's right.
Yeah,
And then you
the rumours.
play dumb during this bit where I ask a question. Okay.
Okay.
Good luck playing dumb, because I obviously told you 3 weeks ago what I was researching.
Yeah.
Okay. My question is, Lima is the capital of which country?
Oh, Peru.
Oh my gosh, you both get a point. It is correct. Peru is the answer because today's topic takes place in Peru.
Oh, Paddington.
Oh, I wish.
Deepest, darkest Peru?
It is pretty deep and dark. It's in a remote mountain today.
Okay.
Now, you might know the story, or at least heard of it. It's been covered in the 2003 docudrama Touching the Void. Have you seen this?
Yes, I
Have you
I
seen
have
this?
not.
Fantastic.
And I've not heard of it.
Okay.
Well, it's based on the book Touching the Void. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't heard of
Oh,
Touching
I
the
saw
Void.
this in theaters.
Wow.
You know how Americans say that?
Theaters.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
in
I saw it
theatre.
in
I saw the
theatres.
premiere.
Now, for a refreshment, did you have a water?
No, I got my coffee.
We have quite a few American listeners. And
Oh, okay, hello.
And
They love it.
The feedback that we've got is they like it when we nail their accents.
Oh, I don't think I nailed it.
Oh, I think we did.
yeah, that was
oh my
great.
God. That was sort of more northern.
Yeah, with a little bit Canadian there.
Yeah, maybe.
That was pretty Canadian, eh? I think, yeah.
Great. Now we've offended both countries. Excellent. So I read. This is the problem. Is I read the book. I watched the movie. I tried to make it so if you've seen or read the story, hopefully you'll get something new because they both cover a little bit of different stuff. And also there's a few newer sources because it's been 20 years since the movie. There's a bit of postscript. Basically, they're both great sources as well as I've used some other updated ones that I'll link to in the show notes if you want to see or read more. But this topic was voted for by our Patreon supporters. They had 4 choices. The overall theme was you might have seen the film, but do you know the real story? And this is the one they chose. And it's been suggested by a few people. People suggest these topics.
Was one the story of Pop-Tarts?
Yeah, the real Pop-Tart story.
Ooh.
Seinfeld's been lying to us. This one's suggested by Juliet Curran from Manchester, Jess from Hobart, Amy Moretti from Cumbernauld, Elizabeth Walters from London, and Antonia Daly from Lufton.
Lufton.
Where's Lufton?
They all sounded English to
Lufton
me,
does.
apart from Hobart.
Yeah.
Which probably is an English place
yeah.
as well.
Lufton is a town and civil parish in the Epping Forest district of Essex.
Essex. Well, you can do Essex as well. Well, my ex is from Essex, so
Oh,
I feel
great.
like
Oh, right. You're allowed to do
yeah,
that
I'm
one.
allowed to.
My ex is from Essex.
Essex.
That's a great something.
My ex
Is that
is from- my
show
ex is from
title or
Essex.
something?
Yeah.
My ex is from Essex.
All right.
So that is because I'm like I just thought you were doing an English accent, but that is Essex.
Yeah, Cockney.
Essex.
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 Yeah.
Oh, it's a lot in the face.
Yeah.
I think the
You
the
can't.
little head wobble.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's but not like yeah.
Essex.
Yeah, Essex.
Essex. It's sort of a little. It's like smarmy.
Yeah, a little bit
almost.
judgmental, like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Ooh, I guess you could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this story takes place in 1985. 2 men, Joe Simpson and Simon Yates, who were 2 experienced mountaineers who had climbed in the European Alps, But they wanted to try and take things to the next level and climb where no one had climbed before.
Whoa, Mars.
The void.
No one's ever climbed the void.
It's hard.
It's hard, nothing to grip onto in the void. But if you believe, you can do it.
Yeah, you want some pretty good crampons.
Oh, they've got the best crampons. You better believe that.
Oh, yeah.
Another climber had told them that in the 70s he had spied a mountain in the Peruvian Andes called Siula Grande. The North Ridge had been conquered in the 1930s by a couple of German guys, but even after a few attempts, no one had summited it via the western face. It was the last big mountain face in this chain of mountains that had never been climbed, and their friend had told them it would be, quote, a challenging day out.
A day? So
Yeah,
it's
it's a bit of a day
knock
trip.
it off in a day.
Exactly.
No one's ever done it before. We'll knock it off in a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, no, people have tried and failed because they only gave themselves the morning to do it.
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
got to give
Gotta
yourself
pack
a
a lunch.
lunch. They got hungry and turned around every time. So Joe, who was 25, and his climbing partner, Simon, who was only 21, headed to Peru to make their mark and attempt a climb that no one had ever pulled off, and that is climb the 6,344-metre Siula Grande.
I couldn't walk that in a day.
Yeah,
In a straight
6,000
line.
6,000 up.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Like even, yeah, I don't think I could, I don't know. There's like even a motorbike, maybe on a, if the motorbike was that steep, I don't think I could even ride it up, you know, even with a motorbike. And they're doing it without any motors at all.
Well, I haven't told you the story yet.
I couldn't drive a car up there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is, I think
crazy.
they're being
A lot.
ridiculous.
It is crazy. Well, let's meet these two guys. Joe Simpson was born in 1960 in Malaysia. His father was in the British Army, and from the age of 8, Joe travelled between schools in Britain and various countries where his dad was stationed.
I wonder if he knows my dad.
Really?
My dad is from Malaysia and was in the British Army.
It's actually true.
Whoa, maybe.
Was he born in the early 60s-ish?
My dad?
Yeah.
No.
He might have been
The 30s.
a senior, well, it might have been a
it could have
senior
been
officer.
Joe Simpson's dad's boss.
Yeah. Well, if Joe Simpson was 21, 25? 25.
Yeah, 25, yeah.
So he'd be like my age now, 45-ish?
No, he's now in his 60s.
Oh, sorry.
Well, would be in his 60s if he's
Okay.
born in 1960, so that's 60.
Okay. Oh, yeah, but Joe Simpson's dad.
Yeah.
Our dads could have known each other.
They could have.
Whoa.
They could have partied together in Malaysia.
Yeah. That's wild.
Can you check?
Yeah.
You let us
Do you
know.
remember a guy called Simpson?
Yeah, we don't know his name. We know his son, who was a very young
Yeah.
child, was called Joe.
But you might have heard about him in the news. They made a movie
Yeah,
about him.
that's right. There's been a big movie about him.
What if your dad is a small character in the movie?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe he gets a shout out.
Yeah.
I didn't check the credits, but I'm going to go back.
Okay.
So he was,
Lizzy Hoo's dad, played by...
Lizzy Hoo's dad.
Whoa.
so he was introduced into the world of rock climbing by his chemistry teacher, a guy called Richard Gilbert, who also wrote books about walking
Okay.
up mountains.
Yeah.
There you go. It works.
If you get those suction shoes, maybe something that, you know, like Ethan Hunt might have in Mission Impossible, then I think you could probably do it.
Yes.
Red means... No, red's dead, I think. Blue is glue. Red is dead.
What?
I think that's from a Mission Impossible.
That's right, sorry. He's climbing on the outside of the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, and there's sort of magnety things.
Oh, right.
And if it goes blue,
No idea. What
It's glue. I think
yeah,
it's something
that
like
means
that.
the magnet's working. But if it
Is this not a reference that everyone instantly
I don't
understands?
even know. Is it red and blue?
That's probably not.
There's a green in there
What are
too.
you
Yeah.
talking about?
Well, the great part about this, so the book came out in the 80s for this, and then someone bought the film rights, and they wanted to make it into like an action blockbuster movie. And for a while, Tom Cruise was attached to the project, which apparently at the time the mountaineering community laughed at because they thought it was really funny, the idea that Tom Cruise could be a mountaineer.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's since become like this major action star, but at the time in the early 90s, they were like, that tiny little American guy, he couldn't climb a mountain, but now he's
standing on aeroplanes.
I feel like he might have heard that feedback and he's gone too far the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's his driver for
Yeah,
his
that's
career.
what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's going to space.
The mountaineers laughed
Those
at me. I'll
mountaineers.
show them.
Huh? Have you ever climbed the Burj Khalifa? Red and blue, does that mean nothing to you? So, Joe had been taken on a climbing excursion. He was instantly good at it as a kid, and from there he started climbing with friends or sometimes on his own, even sneaking out of school to climb.
What a rebel.
He's a bad boy.
What a rebel.
And he'd been very religious as a youngster. At 14, he wanted to be a priest, but by 16, he'd asked the monks at his school some questions he felt they couldn't answer, and, quote, the whole thing fell down like a pack of cards. Losing my faith left a big hole in my life, and I felt angry. I felt I'd been conned.
Oh, yeah. I remember going through that.
Yeah, I remember.
Hang on
Yeah.
a second.
Yeah, I feel like every lapsed Christian goes
There's a
through
moment.
that.
Yeah,
There's a
wait,
moment.
what?
Whoa.
Interesting that he was talking to the monks. You know who's good at climbing? Monkeys. Do you think there's any connection?
Could have got a few tips.
Could have.
Yes.
Maybe these are the questions he was asking. So, do you have prehensile tails? No, well, I don't like that answer.
They had no answers for him. He couldn't trust them anymore. He had found a sense of spirituality in mountaineering and started going to the Alps every summer. Sort of became his new thing. He went to university in Edinburgh in 1984, the year before our story, and he graduated in English literature and philosophy.
So this guy's rich. That's just what I'm gathering. He goes to the Alps every summer.
Yeah.
He went to university in England.
I think that's something we've been noticing over the years, that all these stories of people doing something outrageous, they're never having a work meal to meal, you know.
Yeah.
It's the paycheck to paycheck people who are going to be the first to climb a Peruvian rock face.
Yeah, you don't just sit down and go, I'll just do that.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
Simon Yates, our other main player, was a few years younger and born in Croft, Leicestershire in 1963. Any relations to anyone in Leicestershire?
No.
Is that,
No, that's not a Leicestershire.
Leicestershire accent?
Honestly,
No.
could have fooled me. That's someone going undercover who only knows how to say one word. God, I hope no one asks me any questions and need to say yes.
Yes.
Oh my God, you do, bro. So Simon had studied biochemistry at Sheffield University before becoming a climber. He's
Can I just quickly hear Lizzie's Sheffield accent?
Sheffield.
Oh
my God.
This is so.
I believe it.
That's someone going undercover who only knows how to say the word Sheffield. No.
I have
What was your
been there,
favourite cricket cup growing up? Which sort of shield?
Oh, the
Sheffield.
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 Who's your favourite character on The Nanny?
Sheffield.
Sheffield.
Oh, Mr. Sheffield. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, go.
They're all Sheffields, mate.
Yeah.
Which one?
Which one? Which one of the Sheffield couldn't pick?
Sheffield.
So Simon's the younger 21-year-old guy. Very young, very young.
Okay.
They'd met in the French Alps when they were climbing with a bunch of friends, and often you climb in pairs, and some people only climb with the same partner, quite a monogamous sort of climbing.
Oh.
Mate for life.
Mate for life.
like a penguin.
Yeah, exactly.
They do that?
Yeah, they do.
And because
Ducks do, I think.
Oh, my God.
that's because and it's the same out in the mountain. You're out there. It's just the two of you often. You've got to trust each other wholly.
Yeah.
But they're actually pretty casual and climbed with whoever.
Oh.
More of a polyamorous climbing relationship.
Okay.
And they'd gotten chatting and both found they like to take on and make their mark on this place in the Andes. So it was a pair of convenience rather than a team that had worked together for years and years and years. But they had the same goal, so they worked through the winter to save enough money to get to Peru to take on Siula Grande. And just getting to the base of the mountain range was a journey in itself. It was a 28-mile walk from the closest remote village, which itself was a many-hour drive on a very small bus. They had to walk 2 days with hired donkeys carrying their gear to get there.
Oh, they didn't have their own donkeys? Good detail. They hired donkeys.
They hired-
No, so they sired
Rent to buy.
donkeys. They raised their own donkeys.
Yeah,
It took
okay.
a few years, and then they packed them. Finally, they were old enough and strong enough to carry the gear.
Well, that's the thing about climbers. They have monogamous relationships with their donkey. You get one donkey for life.
And if it dies, that's it.
That's it.
What happens? Like, is that cheating? Taking the donkey?
I think if you take the donkey up the mountain, that might be cheating.
Yeah, okay.
the donkey
I think if you get a donkey up a sheer rock face,
Yeah.
that's
Actually, you
pretty
should-
good.
Just over your shoulder.
like, plenty of people have climbed this mountain, but no one's ever done it with a donkey on their back. That was how they made their mark in the climbing community. They weren't alone, apart from the donkeys. They were accompanied by another Englishman named Richard Hawking, who they had found, quote, resting in a sleazy motel in Lima.
Ideal candidate.
He's quite the character. He travelled the world and had certainly lived a life with many colourful and frankly terrifying stories of travelling across Africa on another trip. For example, his travelling companion was shot dead in Uganda after a swap of cassette tapes with an army officer went awry.
Oh, that can happen.
What cassette tapes? What are we talking
That can
about?
happen though, right? Here's my New Kids on the Block.
Yeah, or even 1985, you get a bit of Wham,
And
they're
you-
not used to those, ready for the sounds in Uganda, it blows their mind.
Or you get the Wham back, you realise it's just been taped off the radio.
Yeah, that's what I reckon
Yeah.
it was. Yeah.
You get it back, no one's wound it through with a little pencil.
Yeah.
They hadn't respected the tape, boom. His partner had been shot dead. So he had these crazy stories. He was a real traveller. They didn't actually know Richard well at all, but he was interested in seeing the Andes up close for a few days. He
Real close.
well, he wasn't a climber and had none of the equipment required, but he agreed to travel with them to their base camp where he would wait for them whilst they trekked up the mountain. And they were stoked to have someone watching their stuff, basically, whilst they went away.
I see.
Another marriage of convenience going on.
Yeah.
This guy they've just met's watching their stuff.
Yeah, Richard.
And the donkeys.
And this guy's a loose unit.
He's a real issue.
Who's traveling for and got shot.
Yeah, but he swears it wasn't him.
Yeah.
And you look over and he's got a really sweet collection of cassette tapes. Hang on, mate.
And he's shining his gun.
Oh, no.
No reason. Just like to keep it shining.
The climbing pair, Simon and Joe, were experienced climbers but had never been to this altitude before.
Can I just double check that shining his gun is a thing? People do
Yeah,
with
people
guns?
shine up their guns all the
People
time.
shine their guns.
Imagine someone shining up a gun. That's the most menacing thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Just
shining
sort of
it.
patting it a bit like, shh.
I think people do that.
Now, Lizzie, I did tell you, we do have a lot of American listeners. So some of them
yeah.
will be yelling at their iPods going, you don't shine
You
a
don't
gun.
shine up a gun. You keep it dirty as.
I reckon someone will be shining their gun whilst
Whilst
listening.
That's probably true.
Oh my God. We're good gun shining listening. I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you say that 50% of our listeners shine guns while listening?
50% of our listeners are gun
Interesting.
shining while
Okay.
listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other 50% they don't. There's an even split. Yeah,
that's right, real
We've
binary
got a lot
going
of data back recently.
Very
This
specific.
is good data.
Data, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for.
They wouldn't have known what we were talking about.
Like data. What like the art movement. What are you talking about? Data. Data.
Data.
Water. Data.
Data.
So they've never been to this altitude before. In the Alps, it didn't get that high. So Siula Grande is 6,356 metres high, just under 21,000 feet. Ooh. The western face they wanted to conquer was in itself 4,500 feet high. So what you got to remember is you don't start at sea level because they're in the mountain ranges already. So their base camp's already at 15,000 feet, which is very high, and sort of
So high.
you'd have to acclimatise to that. Richard, who was not a climber, actually got sick just going to the base camp.
What kind of sick do you get? Like nauseous?
Vomiting.
sick?
Nauseous, vomiting, diarrhea stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would that be like higher than any point in Australia already?
Oh my gosh, yes.
What's
And
Kosciuszko?
their base camp's higher than Kosciuszko.
Yeah, I think
Or
Kosciuszko's
Feathertop, is it? Oh, no, it's Kosciuszko.
Kosciuszko, highest point,
10,000 feet?
7,000 feet. So
Oh, wow.
it's twice as high.
Okay.
And that's just where you're camping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's really, really high, but they've got to go about 4,500 feet up this very, very steep face. The plan was to summit via the western face, first people to ever do that, and then afterwards climb down the peak's north ridge, which is much more known and much easier in theory.
Okay.
What can I just double check? I know you're a big real estate guy. Western facing, is that ideal?
Oh my gosh, yes. If you've got but it depends, western facing, but you want the backyard.
Oh, right.
That would mean eastern facing.
That's what you want, the sun in the backyard?
Yeah, sun in the backyard.
Sun in the back.
Because you want your clothes to dry. You want to be able to enjoy your own
yes.
private space.
Right.
So what I'm telling you is this prime Peruvian real estate. These guys are trying to get it on the ground floor. First people ever, they're like, is this a house now?
So they'll be getting the sun or not getting the sun?
They'd be getting a bit of sun.
Getting a bit of sun.
I've just said yes. I don't know, Lizzie.
Okay.
I've just
Wait,
said
it's
that.
rise in the east, sets in the west.
Afternoon sun.
Afternoon sun.
Afternoon
Beautiful.
sun.
Beautiful.
Great.
Gorgeous.
The perfect time you want it.
That's why these
Yes.
people doing the morning climbs and giving up. They just have to wait a bit longer.
for the sun.
Wait for the sun. Get your second wind.
Exactly.
And
exactly
your first
right.
sun.
They were climbing in the alpine style of climbing where you go up and back in one push over a few days rather than do it in stages and go up to a certain height, stay there, maybe get used to the altitude, maybe come back down, then go a bit higher, which I believe is what you do when you go to Mount Everest. There's a series of camps that get progressively higher and you stay there for a few days, get used to that one. Right. You go a bit high because it's so high. According to HimalayanMasters.com, typically it takes around 2 months to complete the ascent of Mount Everest because of that reason.
Right.
But with this, they want to go up and back in one trip over a couple of days.
Oh, they've stretched out a couple of days now.
Well, it's a few days actually they want to do. But the Alpine style means having to take and carry all of their own gear, including ropes, snow takes, ice screws, crampons for their shoes.
Okay.
Crampons.
That's the first thing that I have vaguely heard of.
Yeah.
What was it? Ice ticks?
Ice screws.
Ice screws.
Yeah, screws. So you can screw it into the ice and then put a little harness attachment to it so you can hang off it.
That's that would be a slow process.
Yes. Yeah, you got to drill into it. They had to take their rock gear, stoves, gas for cooking, all their food and sleeping bags. They decided that their tent was too heavy and cumbersome and that they would rather just dig snow holes or snow caves to
we'll just sleep in a snow hole.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
think that's
got
better.
this. Yeah.
They've still got their boom box and stuff, though, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Well, they got that great cassette collection they borrowed off Richard.
Yeah.
Richard is just loving this. He's got the tent.
He's got the cassette tape.
He's having a great
He's
time.
like, I'll stay here in the tent and DJ whilst you go up there.
He might even have 2 tents. Like, he can back them up to each other and just be really living it up.
Mega tent.
Mega tent, yeah.
Got a day tent, night tent.
Oh, yeah.
So with this climb, Simon and Joe hoped to be back in 4 or 5 days. So they had to carefully calculate how much gas to take with them, as melting snow was the only way to get drinking water.
Okay. That wasn't for their car.
They had to take enough NOS to keep them going.
Yeah.
At this altitude and with the exertion they were going to put themselves through, they would need 4 to 5 litres of water each day just to stave off dehydration.
Ooh.
And they would constantly, in the book, they talk about making a brew, which is just a hot tea. And at the altitude, it takes up to an hour just to boil up 2 cups worth. So it's a real effort just to get the brew. But they love the brew.
Okay.
They're English.
They're always talking about, Simon's always talking about the brew.
And the brew is tea.
Just a tea, yeah.
Just a black tea.
Yeah, we made, and like the diary's like, we made it to the snow cave and then we boiled up a brew. Like they're just talking about the brew so much.
Wow.
Now they knew what they'd be.
Two brews with the boys.
Brewskis.
They knew that they'd be taking quite a serious route and that people had failed it before them. But possibly the first to actually do it for a reason. It's what made it exciting for them, but also quite dangerous, of course. They were aware of the dangers and also very well aware that if anything went wrong out there, they were on their own and there was no chance of anyone coming to rescue them. The margin for error was very small, and if either of them got badly hurt up there, they'd probably die.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, let's talk about...
They've got Richard.
Yeah, Richard's
He
down
sounds like
below.
he's ready to come
They
save
got a
them.
couple of donkeys.
Oh, yes. Then Richard comes galloping up on a donkey.
Eeyore, eeyore.
He'd never been up any mountain before, and now he's doing it on 2 donkeys. Straddling both?
Yeah, straddling.
Yeah.
He's Jean-Claude Van Damming them.
Just a leg on each.
They're like, Richard, why didn't you just do it? We didn't know you could do this. They did do an initial climb nearby to get used to the altitude, but also the weather, which was unlike what they were used to in the Alps. The weather would turn in the afternoon, and they were like, oh, okay, this feels like a storm, but it's not quite a storm. But they were worried that because they would just get used to that, if a storm actually came over, they wouldn't notice.
Right.
That is a little bit worrying.
Yeah. I mean, you get used to storms, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
And now they love teacups.
Yeah.
They could just get a storm
Just
in
get
one
a
of those.
brew going.
Does that help? Is that anything? I'm getting slightly distracted. I just let the listeners know, just in case it's picking up. We're in a different room at Stupid Old, a less soundproofed room. Did you see the doorbell?
I heard a
People
doorbell.
chatting out there.
Yeah. I
Just
heard
in
the
case people are hearing that pick up. And I don't know if you know this about me, Lizzie. I'm easily distracted.
Oh.
Just letting the listeners. And nearly whenever I bring that up when we're recording somewhere else, people are like, I couldn't hear anything. You sound like you lost your mind.
I did a bit of a rewind and there was no doorbell. You were insane.
Oh, I heard it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lizzie.
Okay, I heard it.
Okay, thank you, Lizzie. Cop that, Dave.
Simon was much more carefree. He was like, we're only going to find out about the weather if we go up there and have a look. But Joe was much more cautious, with possibly a good reason to be. Just 2 years earlier, he'd been climbing up a mountain in the Alps on the Bernati Pillar, which is a golden red granite spire. He was with another climber called Ian Whittaker, and they were just a few hundred feet from the summit when night fell. They planned to make it up the next day, but they needed somewhere to sleep. Ian went ahead and he called out to Joe when he found a large pedestal that had a 4-foot wide ledge that was long enough for them to sleep head to toe. These guys are absolutely crazy. I can't imagine doing
This sounds
anything
romantic.
Like this. Oh, lovely.
This sounds like his true climbing
Yeah,
love,
that's
actually.
right.
Yeah.
Well, let's find out what happened to Ian.
Okay.
They spent an hour fixing a safety rail and clipped themselves in to sleep inside their bivouac sleeping bags, which is it fully covers your head, so you're inside a sack. When suddenly, without any warning, they felt themselves drop. There was an enormous noise as the pillar they were sleeping on collapsed and tons of granite fell down with several thousand feet below them.
Whoa.
Joe and Ian found themselves hanging in the air, thankfully their safety rope having held. Joe was still inside his sleeping bag this whole time, so like head covered. So he had to come out into the pitch black, reach out, put his head torch on, and he saw that Ian was also hanging but was dazed and had blood on his face, having hit his head really hard inside his sleeping bag. Luckily, it was only a minor cut, and they swore and laughed. They were like, oh, we survived, until the seriousness of their situation set in. The rock fall had severed many of their ropes, and the ring peg on which they hung, so they were only attached by one thing, was moving, and the rock it was attached to itself was badly damaged. They looked for ways to secure themselves, only to find that all their anchors had fallen with the rest of their equipment.
Oh, my God.
Into the void below, including their climbing boots.
Wait, this is the void?
This is the European void.
Oh, my God.
We have not even got to the South American void yet. There was a huge rock overhead, so they couldn't climb up in their socks. In short, they couldn't do anything except wait and hope that the anchor point held until someone spotted them and attempted a rescue.
Oh, my God.
And they hung there in the dark for 12 hours before someone heard their shout, during daylight, and they were rescued by a helicopter.
Holy shit. They got rescued.
Yeah, they got rescued.
They survived?
Man, you made it sound like the other guy was going to die.
Yeah.
Well, Ian returned to the Alps the following summer. This is the other climbing partner, but he couldn't climb ever again.
Yeah, fair enough.
And he went home.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I totally get...
I
why would
totally-
you ever go back?
Why would you... What is this?
Gotta get back on that donkey.
Yeah. Joe, however, had gotten over the dread and was now in Peru, but he had a little phobia of bivouacking or sleeping at night in these precarious situations because he'd nearly died.
Yeah. Bivouacking.
Bivouac.
It's a great word, isn't
That's a great word.
It's great.
You bivouacker.
But he's back out there, and I need to say this by choice.
Okay.
These guys want to be here.
Okay.
Psycho.
But they weren't feeling that great because for the climb, both Joe and Simon had given up smoking.
Good on
having
him.
withdrawal symptoms. It was Simon's suggestion, and Joe quietly cursed him over the first few days as he had the withdrawal symptoms. But the altitude at which they were meant the air was very thin, and he knew Simon was right. They should not be smoking out here.
What would happen? Would you look even cooler than normal?
Yeah, you would
Yeah.
look super sick as you're... I think it would be very bad for your breathing and
Yes.
possibly open you up to embolisms, I believe he said.
Oh, you don't want that.
Which you
Embolisms.
don't
What are
want.
they?
Yeah.
Like,
Those.
blood clotty type stuff.
Yeah, you don't want those. You don't
yeah.
want
Yeah,
those.
and it's already very hard to breathe at that altitude, so you don't want anything to straining your lungs. But
Yeah.
like Matt said, you do look super cool.
That would have been a great picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alps, shirtless, cigarette.
Who cares about the snow and ice?
Yeah.
Man, that's the coolest guy ever.
When you're like hanging off a thing waiting to be rescued, you just got a fag hanging out your lip.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
sick.
That is cool.
I knew you'd come.
About time.
I was down to my last dozen darts. So they were camped near a lake in a dry riverbed, and to get to Siula Grande itself was a trek. They couldn't even see the mountain from their camp, which was over 5 miles away. Just to start the climb, they had to cross over the moraines, which is a very rocky area consisting of loose sediment and debris deposited by glacier ice. Slowly pushed down the mountain. And it starts off being a little bit pebbly and rocky, and then suddenly there's these like boulders So that's hard to cross over. Then they get to the glacier itself, which is at the bottom of the mountain, which is where Richard left them to return to camp as he only had normal walking shoes and he couldn't go any
He's
further.
just in his ass.
Yes, he's in thongs. Yeah. They told him they'd be back in 4 or 5 days. Simon said to him, "And if we're not back in a week, you'll be the proud owner of our gear." And Richard...
That's grim.
Richard only laughed because the others laughed.
What?
They said, "You'll probably be jumping to all sorts of conclusions after 3 days, but try not to worry. We know what we're doing, and if something goes wrong, there's nothing whatever you can do anyway." And then they left him.
I want to know what the goodbye was.
See you later.
See ya. See ya. See you in 3 days.
Couple of handshakes and they're off. They carefully cross the glacier, which itself is a minefield of crevasses that can be up to 50 metres deep and can swallow people up forever, so you don't want to fall down one of those. The climb was hard work. They'd battled through the snow, which would whip down upon them from above and freeze to their bodies like suits of armour. It was much tougher than any climb they'd ever done in the Alps. But after sleeping at night in hand-dug snow caves, they got to the summit on the 3rd day.
Oh, they did it.
They got there.
The first ever to do it?
First ever. Well, and they actually even considered, they were so tired, it was a little bit extra to get to the summit. They actually considered not, going the extra few hundred feet because it was really difficult.
Right.
But they were like, we're here now. Yeah. We have to keep pushing. So they got there.
So they got there.
First people to ever summit via the Western Face. They hugged at the top. Job well done.
And I guess they have to do something to prove it, do they? Get a photo?
Yeah, there are photos of them up there. So
they lit a cigarette.
Yeah. Been holding out on me.
There's a couple of butts up there to prove that they were there.
My DNA's all over them.
And they'd done it together. The two climbers were tethered the whole way. They're sort of tied to each other for safety. And they had to trust in each other and their abilities. And whilst it's for safety, there is also a chance that if one fell, they would rip the other person off the mountain and then take them both to the bottom.
It's all or nothing kind of thing.
Yes. And something that Simon was especially aware of. So this is the cooler, calmer, collected 21-year-old guy. Mm-hmm. He'd also had an incident. The year before, he had been in the French Alps and witnessed a pair of Japanese climbers fall to their deaths when one of them fell and pulled his attached partner off with him. And he sort of watched them scramble the whole way down, hundreds of feet until they disappeared into the void.
Oh, my God.
And then, I don't want to go into too much, but then he heard them screaming for a bit and then they fell again. It's very nasty. Whoa. And that had stayed with him.
Yeah, but he's still doing it.
It's which is insane.
I think it's a certain kind of people that do these sort of things, right?
Yeah.
To do it in the first place and then to go back.
Yeah. What are those movies about the free climbers? Is it called Free
Solo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Built
different.
Yeah.
I get sucked in by those videos of people like illegally climbing towers and...
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Spider-Man
style tall buildings, but then breaking in and then they show themselves sort of hanging off by one arm and sort of laughing at the camera. And obviously, if I'm watching it on Instagram, they're not going to die.
Yeah.
But it still makes me feel sick.
Depends on what kind of Instagram algorithm you've got.
Very, very friendly, very nice.
Yeah.
You get to watch someone fall to their death. It's a great place to be on Instagram, I suggest. So they made it. Perfect, great. Now it was time for the Englishmen to descend, something that they weren't particularly looking forward to, as about 80% of accidents actually happen on the way back down.
Oh, I didn't
know
that.
Yes, it's harder to go back down. I think often you can fall and also you get confident, you start rushing a bit.
Can't you just do that, that thing where you run down you have that rope and you just run down it? What do you call that? Is it Tom Cruise again?
Yeah, that is a bit Tom Cruise.
You're talking about like a front-facing abseil.
Yeah, well, they call that something. You something it. Just do that. Just do the old...
let's do that.
What do you call it?
Like going down a sand dune.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or like a water slide.
Yeah.
Just water slide. Is that what you're talking about?
On your belly or on your back? Which way are you going? Head first? Feet first. That's it.
I'll go on feet first.
And off you go.
I'm going feet first.
You keep talking. I'm going to find this.
I'm genuinely interested to know what you're Googling to try and find front-facing run downhill.
Facing
Abseil.
The mountaineering community
Down.
are absolutely yelling at their iPods right now. Oh my
Hill.
gosh. I'm sorry
the
about this.
mountaineering community have switched off.
They definitely know the story. It's
are
very famous in their community.
Rappelling.
Rappelling. Oh, right.
Yes, a rappel.
Unfortunately, that is not an option
Okay.
in this instance.
Well, I'm glad I got to ask the question.
They couldn't do it. But their plan, they did have a plan, was to go back down, like I said, via the North Ridge, which is easier, and then abseil down a smaller section of the face. So in theory, it should be much quicker to get back down because it's easier. As they began their descent, however, clouds began to descend upon them. They had thought that the North Ridge would be much easier to the point that they could just walk along the top and then abseil down. They thought it'd be super easy, but it turned out to be much more difficult with sharp ridges and dangerous flutings of snow, which are these little channels of snow that build up. Which are like water slides, but at the bottom is a 3,000-foot drop. So you don't want to slide down one of those. Things got dangerous and out of control pretty quickly, as within an hour of leaving the summit, the two men found themselves lost. The weather conditions had changed and they were in a whiteout and couldn't see anything around them because a storm had come up. And now they couldn't see like a foot in front of their own face, let alone work out if they're walking in the right direction or not. It's scary stuff.
Sounds very
That's so
scary.
scary.
Also, while they're still yelling, it seems like rappelling...
Let it
He did go quiet for a while though.
Rappelling and abseiling is used interchangeably in Australia, New Zealand and Canada.
But what's the one where you're facing forwards?
I thought that was rappelling, but maybe not. I'm sure...
I'm sure Tom Cruise will let us know. He listens every week.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a deep
I
dive.
did tell you before I get distracted easily.
Lizzie, I got to tell you, if I could reach, I would go over and I'd close my eyes because he's going to keep looking. Because they're not abseiling or rappelling yet. They're lost in the snow.
I'm just thinking about the rappellers and the abseilers at home just tearing their hair out. I just want to give them relief.
And if they're doing it whilst listening to this,
my God,
we're
that's
risking their
dangerous.
lives. They're so angry that they're, their little screws falling out of the wall.
Oh, no.
I'm thinking like glass cleaners. Is that what you're thinking?
Oh. I'm thinking like, you're seeing people just running down, facing the ground, down the cliff.
Sort of using the cliff as if it was the ground.
Yeah, just running down the...
With the rope.
But maybe that's just like front-facing rappelling or
I
something.
think I might have seen that in SAS. Australia.
Oh, right. Might be sassing.
Might be sassing.
Is that how you SASing? What do you say SASing? I'm going to SAS down the mountain, or are you sassing down the mountain?
Yeah, those SAS people, they are so sassy.
Very sassy.
They're high-level sass. So, the two guys, they'd hoped to get back down that same day because they thought it would be much quicker, but by nightfall, they were still very high, 20,000 feet up. Hard to breathe. They're nowhere near the ground. Oh, my God.
Very
they decided to call it a night and dig/sleep in a snow cave where they made one of their signature brews.
Oh.
But afterwards, their gas ran out, meaning they were now without a means of making water and staying hydrated. And you might be thinking, what about the snow? Can't you just eat that? Well, according to Max Huddleston, talking to clevelandclinic.org, you utilize energy to melt that snow in a drinkable form. You're using more energy to melt that snow with the heat from your own body. Any hydration you're getting from eating or drinking snow isn't as great as the energy you're using to melt it. So over time, if you're consuming a high quantity of snow, in theory, it can actually dehydrate you.
Oh.
Because you're working harder to warm it up within you.
What if you grab snow and just go this?
Oh, so
Rub it between your hands.
warm it up.
Yeah.
Is that the same?
No. I think your hands would stick together.
Oh, okay.
Eventually
I think
you very
it's
quickly
called
get-
frostbite.
You'd get frostbite. You'd have a little sip, but then your hands would be useless.
Yeah.
What if you just brought up like some flavouring and little cones and you just put the snow in,
Oh, yeah.
put a little bit of cordial on top?
Yummy.
Yum.
That's
This is
heaven.
good
That's
stuff.
heaven.
That's heaven.
Now you're taking your lemons and you're turning into lemonade.
Yeah. And it might dehydrate you, but at least it tastes fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. And you could probably, bring a few different ones with those pumps, those big 4-litre jugs.
There's a red one, there's a blue one, and sometimes you can ask for both. Half and
Yeah,
half.
rainbow.
That'd be a pretty common street fair.
Snow cone, yeah, surely.
On the North Face.
Yeah. Oh, that's where they come from.
They've got access. So
They're
now,
heading down and like, oh my God, why don't we just buy from the canteen?
Green sleeves.
Sorry, can we get some water?
you hear Green, so that's when you know you're losing your mind. Can you hear that? Hear what?
Oh, we found out recently, Lizzie, that in America they don't play green sleeves on their Mr.
There's a different
Whippies.
song, isn't it?
They play The Entertainer. They've got a few different ones, but it feels like, I'm not thinking ice cream when I hear that.
I'm thinking about entertainment.
I'm thinking
Live entertainment.
basketball or something.
Yeah. Feels like the Globetrotters or something.
They've got their own little song too. Now, Simon and Joe were 20,000 feet up a mountain without any water. That meant they needed to get down and as fast as possible. Fortunately, the next morning the weather was better, and they saw where they'd been the night before and realised they'd been climbing the worst possible section of the ridge. But now things were looking up, and surely they'd make it down that day.
Now that they can see, that's got to help.
This is a lot easier.
Visibility has got to help in these scenarios.
So they're still tied together, but Joe went ahead and had to get over an ice wall, hammering his axe in for support. He lowered himself down the other side, and as he descended, he slipped and fell, falling very badly onto his knee. He suddenly felt tremendous pain in his thigh and his knee and instantly knew it was broken.
Broken knee.
Broken knee. Probably broken. What's that bone? Is that the femur?
Maybe the femur?
Femur, yeah. I think it's tibia being pushed up into it. The impact of the fall had driven his lower leg straight through his knee joint. And the bone crashed into his femur and continued going up. He felt the area for blood and fortunately felt none, meaning at least the bone hadn't split through his skin. So that's good news.
Yeah.
There's some positives here, but needless to say, he was in extreme pain. And looking over, he was in line. This has got to be like the most grim feeling. He looked over to the horizon and saw that he was directly in line with the summit of a nearby mountain called Sierra Norte, which he knew was 19,000 feet up.
Oh my God.
So he knew how high he was. He's like, I'm really high up.
Yeah.
And he was in denial at first. Maybe he was like, it's just a tendon or something. If I bang my head, I always think, oh my God, that's got to be bleeding. And it's never bled once. But I always put my hand there and I go, oh my God, look at your hand, no blood.
No
Got away with it again,
Must have
Warnock.
just been a tendon.
One day you'll get the blood.
But he's like, I'm pushing hard for it.
Did his fall? Did he make good ground in the fall? Like, how far did he fall?
Not far, like 20 feet or something.
Okay,
Which, if you do the maths of 19,000, isn't
that's
that far.
not
As a
big enough
percentage.
chunk to be worth smashing your kneecap.
Yeah.
20 feet, probably like a window jump.
Okay. Yeah, which I wouldn't do.
Which I wouldn't do.
You'd probably...
No.
But if you
ruin
did
your
the
knee.
window jump, you'd be 100% of the way to the ground.
Yeah,
Whereas he hasn't even got anywhere near it.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
It's like him jumping out of a window at the Rialto and from the top deck and landing on the second top floor. That would hurt.
Yeah.
But he's still got to climb down all these stairs.
Still got to find a
Assuming
lift.
the elevators are around the water that day.
So he's like, maybe I've just pulled a tendon or something. But when Joe put pressure on it to test it, the pain came rushing through him, and he moved. He felt like a grinding crunch in his knee between the two bones.
Oh, I feel sick.
It's really grim, isn't it? He looked down at what he still needed to descend, and he was filled with dread. His first thought was Simon wouldn't be able to get him down and would have to leave him. Simon, speak of the devil, soon poked his head over the ridge because he just felt like a tug on the rope and gone, what's going on down there? So he poked his head over and looked down at Joe looking back up at him.
So I guess the rope's got 20 foot of give then.
Yeah, they've got they've got a 150-foot rope.
So
I think,
it stops you from falling all the way down.
all the way down, but
not stopping you from busting your knee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like falling from a second-story window height onto it. Like you still get really injured.
And you get a little tug on your coat.
And you go, oh, what's that? And he pops his head and goes, you right down there, mate? And Simon writes in Touching the Void, he told me very calmly that he had broken his leg. It looked pathetic, and my immediate thought came without any emotion.
That is... Why use that word?
It looked pathetic.
It's worse.
Loser. All right, you look like a loser down there, man.
Yeah.
Come on, perk up.
You
Get
suck, Joe. You suck.
Get the bruise on.
Pathetic.
It gets worse. He says, he looked pathetic, and my immediate thought came without any emotion. You're fucked, matey. You're dead.
Matey.
No two ways about it. I think he knew it too. I could see it in his face. And then Simon continues, it was all totally rational. I knew where we were. I took in everything around me instantly and knew he was dead. It never occurred to me that I might also die. I accepted without question that I could get off the mountain alone.
Whoa.
Okay.
And Joe was worried that Simon would leave him. But to
With
Simon's
good reason.
Yeah. Simon
He's
sounds
like, mate, you're dead. He's
was-
yelling at him. Mate, you're fucked. You're dead.
It sounds like Simon had some contract papers ready to go. Can you just sign here?
Gosh, I really should have got your life insurance on you before this. But to Simon's credit, he didn't leave. He sort of went down the mountain to be beside him. He handed Joe some paracetamol,
Oh,
a
yeah.
couple of headache tablets.
Hope it was fast acting. Hope it's the rapid.
Yeah.
And you'll be pleased to know that it completely took the edge off.
Oh, great.
It did not at all. His leg was fucked. It wouldn't help because it was so badly twisted and swollen. He could actually see the swelling instantly through Joe's polar fiber trousers.
Whoa.
So these guys are wearing like multiple layers of thermals and all sorts of stuff. But he could look at his leg. And this is the 80s. Was it baggy fashion back then? What are we looking
Oh,
at?
yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. So he could see it.
Yeah, even through the bagginess.
So he knew it was bad. He was wearing MC Hammer pants and he could still see the knee. That's what we're talking about.
I mean, I think Hammer time was 90s, but
These guys were ahead of the curve. Did I tell you that? They knew Hammer before we knew Hammer.
I think it was a lot of skinny jeans in the 80s.
Yeah, actually, it's true.
Probably wearing
True.
like acid wash
Some Doc
skinny
Martens.
jeans.
Yeah, acid wash denim up a mountain.
They skated up that mountain.
The worst possible clothing. So the two men actually didn't talk about their situation for over 2 hours. They just sort of... Simon went up and fixed the ropes because it had got jammed as Joe had fallen. But he actually said that was good. It gave him time to think about the situation a bit. But they didn't talk about it, which is got to... Joe's sitting there silently being like, don't bring up what we're going to do because if I do, he might just leave.
This is classic
So what?
male behaviour.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's not talk about it.
Yeah, so yeah. Well, you
How you
catch the game.
been? Kids good? Yeah.
How's the wife? Yeah.
You get a, oh, yeah, geez, we should
yeah.
have a brew.
Yeah.
Feel like a brewski?
Got no gas.
Oh, yeah, don't bring that up. Oh,
Speaking of no gas, might have hurt my leg.
So after silently coming to terms with their situation, eventually they went into survival mode and they did come up with a plan.
Okay.
They had two 150-foot ropes that they could combine to create one long 300-foot rope with a knot in the middle. The plan was Simon would lower Joe down the mountain with the rope and then join him and repeat the process until they either fell off the mountain or made it to the bottom.
good plan.
It's a 50-50.
50-50.
That sounds like a good plan. And all of a sudden, it sounded good for Joe.
Yeah.
Great. You get a free ride down.
Just get to slide on down.
Great. It's the water
getting
slide situation
lowered.
you were wanting.
Yeah.
But three things made this exercise quite tricky. The first is the snow they were in was very soft and powdery, so Simon couldn't get anything to anchor off whilst lowering Joe. He couldn't drill in any screws for support. To combat this, he dug little ice bucket seats and then sat in the hole and leaned back so that he could get a bit of leverage on the rope.
Oh.
Quite clever. Bit of physics involved. The second problem was the knot between the two pieces of rope was too thick to go through the metal belay plates that guided the rope. So to make it easier for Simon to lower him, it went through these two metal plates called belay plates.
For the listeners at home, Dave's doing the finger dick through the hand mut.
That's the big
Absolutely.
delay.
Before this meant sex, it meant belay.
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 That's where it comes from.
Oh, okay.
There's no relation between this. Doesn't represent a dick. It just means belay.
Yeah. Bit of rope.
Yeah. So but to go through there, but then I keep doing it. We're getting the video of this. But the knot couldn't get through.
Right. Too big.
Yeah.
The balls are too big.
We've all been there. Why didn't they? Was there a problem with it just speeds it up by double rather than just doing?
Yeah, it would make
one
it.
length
Yeah,
at a time?
otherwise, like they estimated they'd have to do about 10 of these because there's about 3,000 foot to the glacier, rather than stopping 20 times with one rope. It would make it much quicker, but it meant they had to combat the rope and the knot between them. So what they did was when the knot came up, Simon would stop Joe. Now he was 150 feet down the mountain, and Joe would then balance on his good leg against the mountain to take his weight off the rope, which would give Simon enough slack to unclip the rope, which is always a little bit dodgy because there's a second there that Joe's not really attached. He would then thread it through the belay plate with the knot and then clip it back on the other side, and then he'd have another 150 feet to lower him back down.
Right.
So there's always a little bit dodgy when Joe's down there sort of balancing whilst he gets the knot through and then reclips the other side.
Just balancing on his good leg.
Yeah, he's one good leg.
He's going to get to the bottom with a really thick good leg.
Yeah.
Never skip half leg.
Like day.
And the final thing that made this very, very tricky was Simon's hands were already very cold and developing frostbite, meaning he didn't have great control over the rope. It was very difficult. Despite this, Simon was able to repeatedly lower Joe, a Herculean effort. They estimated that when they started, they were about 3,000 feet above the glacier, so he'd have to do this process 10 times, like I said. Every time Joe was lowered and waited for Simon to join him, he would start to dig the next ice bucket for Simon to sit in, and they quickly got into a routine and became more and more efficient with each lowering. It's getting closer and closer.
good.
And the altitude is making it easier as they get lower, I guess?
Yeah, every foot you go down, it's a little bit easier to breathe. Yep.
Yeah, right.
But the weather began to turn again, the wind picking up and blowing snow powder all around them. The temperature rapidly dropped. And I'm getting cold thinking about it too. Matt did a little shiver. And it was getting dark. So they had to act fast. Joe had no control over his broken leg, which kept being caught and bumped as he was lowered down the mountain.
Did they put a tourniquet or anything on it?
No, at this stage, nothing on it.
He's got into tight pants.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. That's the beauty of the jeans.
he's getting the support of that acid wash.
It's holding
Yeah.
it.
Feeling it against
He
his
takes
skin.
the pants off and you realise his leg's fully detached.
Yeah.
It caused Joe repeated excruciating pain, and he kept calling out to Simon to either slow down or stop because it was killing so bad, his broken leg being caught and banged. Simon did neither and gave no reaction and lowered him faster and faster, knowing that he had to be cruel to save Joe's life.
Cool to be kind.
His fingers were getting worse and worse with frostbite, and he was having trouble controlling the rope at all.
What he should have done is this.
Yeah.
And then get a bit of snow between there and you can get a little drink as well.
Yeah, you got a little
that's
drink. This
right.
is all about friction.
Oh, little hand brew.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
It's always like when you're in a real cold scenario, it's like such brief relief.
Yeah.
The blowing in the hands.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Oh, it's gone.
They actually would do, I think they call that reviving. They would take their hands out of their gloves and try and warm them up a bit. But you can only do it so many times before it just doesn't do anything.
Right.
And also, the act of taking your hands out of the gloves and exposing them can be a bit
Yeah.
dangerous
That's
too.
danger.
The weather got worse, but they decided to keep going in the dark. It was fully dark now, gambling that it would be better to try and get down as fast as possible rather than dig a snow cave in this
Makes sense to me.
deteriorating weather. Just go. They're like, let's go for it.
We're going to
Yeah.
gun it. Because the...
What have we got to lose?
Hey, we've come this far.
Exactly.
But yeah, also just like I imagine that Joe's like, I don't want to sleep a night in pain. Like,
Yeah,
let's
it'd be
just get it
awful.
done.
Yeah.
Let's just
He's
keep
probably
going.
gone through all the
Fun thing
Panadols.
is, I'm just thinking.
Yeah, full packet. You'd be taking like 12 Panadols.
He's probably double dropping. That's how bad it would be.
Wow.
But also, like, I'm just remembering that even if they make it to the bottom, they've got that huge walk.
Yeah, multiple miles back.
Richard.
Get back up the donkey. So they just kept going. Simon's hand's getting worse and worse. But Simon estimated they'd covered about 2,700 feet through multiple lowerings and a couple of abseils. They got to a bit where they could do a bit of quick abseiling.
Some people call it rappelling, but
They did a bit of rappelling. Definitely Joe hopping, facing downwards.
One leg hop down.
So in theory, they can't see anything because it's dark, but in theory there's only about 300 feet to go to the glacier below. They were on the home stretch, and Simon guessed that this could be the last lower. Sort of gave the thumbs up to Joe. Mate, we're nearly there. They're feeling good. He lowered Joe down again and noticed that Joe was smiling as he sort of disappeared into the void.
yeah, and he was moving towards a light.
He's taking
All my
his
old
last
dogs
breath.
He also noticed that the angle of the slope was gradually increasing,
Oh.
and he thought this meant that they were very close to the glacier, sort of as it's getting a bit sharper. And quickly, Joe disappeared from Simon's torch beam, out of sight, into the void. Simon's fingers were really feeling frostbitten, and he was worried about long-term damage, because when he'd checked before this lower, he saw that 4 fingertips and 1 thumb were fully blackened.
Ooh.
So, like, really nasty. Joe was somewhere down below in the darkness when he heard a faint cry out, and the rope jerked slightly, and the pull at his harness greatly increased. The angle for Joe must have been increasing and getting steeper and steeper. He's like, what's going on? Oh, I've got to keep going. He's just lowering, but the sort of pressure's getting more and more. Suddenly, Simon was jolted forward from the waist, and he had to throw his weight back into the seat, bracing his legs as hard as he could to avoid being pulled down the mountain.
Oh. I forgot about the name of the book.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're almost done it. Oh, there was no void.
What did they do?
Oh, no.
Christ, he thought, Joe must have fallen. And the pressure remained constant and the harness bit into his hips. It's really pulling him. He cried out, but there was no way Joe could hear him over the storm, so they can't communicate with each other. He held firm for half an hour.
Oh, my God.
Half an hour squat.
Oh,
That is hardcore. Oh.
30 minutes later, he lowered a bit of rope. He had no idea what was going on or how close Joe was to the ground below, but because he wasn't taking his weight off the rope, as he usually did, Simon guessed that this meant Joe couldn't. Something had gone wrong. He tried to lower Joe a couple of times, hoping that maybe he was just a little bit off the ground. Imagine if Joe's all the way down there and he's about 20 feet off the ground, just going, let me go.
Oh my gosh.
Joe had also not attempted to climb back up, and he felt no trembling on the rope to indicate he was attempting anything.
Wait, so this is...
Simon up above, sort of just feeling the rope going. He's not coming back up. I can't feel any movement.
He's communicating through vibrations. Ooh, okay.
Beach Boys style.
Oh, it looks like, yeah. I think he's doing a little dance.
Yeah.
So he started lowering Joe more and more, which in itself was scary because he had no idea what he was lowering him over, but he just had to hope that it was, close to the ground. But without his companion taking pressure off the rope, Joe couldn't even change it over and give him the next 150 feet. He can't do the not change over. So he just had to hope that Joe was very, very close to the ground.
Oh.
So he did the only thing he could, and he just sat there and held on. But as he sat there, feeling the deadly cold of the storm take over him, he felt the snow seat falling apart around him. He was the only thing holding Joe up and realised that he was slowly being pulled off the mountain himself. Then a wave of snow hit him from behind, a small avalanche that pushed him forward and filled the seat back behind. And he sat there for another hour, shaking with the cold, his hands only getting colder and colder. He considered trying to change the rope over with Joe's weight still on it, but there was no way with his fingers he could support Joe's entire weight. So just centimetre by centimetre, over 90 minutes, he felt himself being pulled off the mountain. And if that had happened, both he and Joe would certainly fall to their deaths. That's what he thought. Then suddenly Simon remembered he had a knife in his rucksack. He pulled the red plastic handle and it slipped in his mitt and he nearly dropped it, but he was able to catch it. And he later wrote, I had already made the decision. There was no other option left to me. He put the blade to the rope. It required no pressure and it was soon cut. Joe was no longer on the other end. So he cut the rope.
He was kind of out of options, I guess.
Let him go.
Jeez, that is tough.
It's tough. Had he killed Joe? He dared not answer that thought. To survive himself, Simon would have to think about Joe in the morning. He was... It's so brutal, isn't it? It's like, all right. He was half frozen, dehydrated, and needed to find shelter for the night from the storm. So he dug a very crude snow cave and spent the night wondering if Joe was alive.
These snow caves, how warm are they?
I think they can get pretty warm.
Especially because you get inside your
body
your
heat.
bivouac bag.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Probably have a bit of a whack as well. Keep it warm. Keep it warm.
You got to do something up there.
Yeah, well, didn't you say I was getting pulled off on the mountain, didn't you say?
If someone's going to pull me off this mountain, it's going to be myself.
I'm going to have a bit of a whack. Don't mind me having a bit of a whack.
So he had a very long night. He reasoned that they were close to the glacier below when he cut the rope, so maybe Joe had survived. But he had a feeling that Joe was dead. When Simon awoke the next morning, the storm had passed, the weather was clear, the sun was back.
Okay.
Simon began his descent alone, fearful that he too was going to die now he was on his own. He descended via a different path and was able to see, now it was daylight, what he'd lowered Joe over.
Oof.
It was a steep drop over a 20-foot wide crevasse below. He thought, God knows how deep that is. Joe must have been dangling over the crevasse and when he'd cut the rope, fallen into it. Which is so grim. It's like the worst possible spot.
Right.
He's over this big, deep hole that goes into the glacier.
And that's a crevasse.
Crevasse, yeah. Deep hole in the glacier, and they can be hundreds of feet deep.
Oh my gosh.
What a crevice is like they're not related at all, those words?
It could be, yeah. Imagine.
They're similar, yeah. But a crevice, you feel like it's a shallow
It's a
thing,
little
and a
thing.
crevasse is a big one.
Very deep.
Crevasse.
Really deep, yeah.
Linguists out there will be absolutely loving this.
Yes.
They'll be like, oh, yes,
Oh,
they're onto
God,
some really
accent's
interesting
worse than now.
territory.
Keep digging. We want to hear the answer. So he yelled out over the crevasse, but there was no response. And there's no way that Joe would survive that fall. Joe was dead. He thought how cruel they'd gotten so close to pulling off the impossible rescue, but how foolish they were to think that they were close enough to get away with it.
Pathetic.
Why even dare to dream?
If he's written the word pathetic after he died, that's way more brutal. I'm hearing him call him pathetic. I'm like, obviously he
Pathetic.
survived,
That's
and they're
rude.
ribbon. They're like, you look pathetic, mate. He's right, typing it with him next to him on the typewriter.
Sort of, remember when you looked pathetic?
It was so
Anyway,
pathetic.
now we're back home in England having our brews.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Bruce every hour.
Every hour. Exactly. I've got bloody unlimited gas in the kitchen here. It's amazing. Yeah, calling him pathetic. Joe's family reading it. Did you have to write pathetic?
Yeah.
He actually debated what he would tell people when he got back. Would he tell them the truth? How would he be able to tell Joe's parents that he'd cut the rope? He knew he'd done all he could lowering Joe and that they'd almost made it. He'd made the only choice he could to survive. Otherwise, they were both going to die. He guessed some people would never understand, but he knew in his head that he'd done the right thing. But he considered making up a story about how Joe had just fallen or something. Maybe that would make things easier for people at home to understand. As he continued on the loneliest journey of his life, he began to question his decision, later writing, "However many times I persuaded myself that I had no choice but to cut the rope, a nagging thought said otherwise. It seemed like a blasphemy to have done such a thing." As you can imagine, you're feeling a bit of guilt.
Oh, a bit. Yeah, a little bit.
But at the same time, trying to tell yourself you've done the right thing.
Yeah, wow.
It's very...
I mean, I don't think I'll hopefully ever put myself in that position. But still, what a wild... I mean, you probably those you don't have to climb a mountain to have to make hard decisions, though, I guess. You know?
You're like when you finish, we've got those little plastic cereal containers.
Yes.
There's only room enough in the pantry for one.
Exactly.
So when you finish the Milo cereal, do you go back and get another Milo cereal?
Exactly.
Or do you get the Nutri-Grain?
Yeah.
That is one of my hardest decisions.
Yeah.
Hardest decisions.
And you're like, the Milo cereal looks so pathetic.
At the bottom of the box when there's only half a serve left, there's little grainy bits left. Absolutely
Pathetic.
I was thinking, you know, when you're driving and they say, if you see a kangaroo or something and they're like, don't swerve.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Just
Don't-
keep going.
just
Because you
keep
put yourself at
going.
risk.
Yeah.
You might go into a tree or
Yeah.
into a ditch or something.
Yeah. Pathetic.
Pathetic. Look at that kangaroo. Pathetic.
Yeah.
Look at my Toyota Corolla. It looks pretty pathetic now. The kangaroo totaled it, actually.
I should not have sped up.
The kangaroo won.
Yeah.
So he continued on. When he got to the glacier, he wasn't out of the woods as the glacier is full of crevasses, just like the one he'd seen Joe fall into, which are very difficult to get out of on your own. Fortunately, the steps he and Joe had taken on the way up were still there in the snow, so he had a safe path to follow back. They're like, well, this worked on the way there. I'll just follow this.
Right.
Very lucky. Soon,
All the weather the snow blown in didn't get rid of the tracks.
no, there was just enough sign of we were
Amazing.
here.
Oh, wow. That's some good stair building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. Well done.
Yeah.
Soon he was wandering back towards camp where Richard, the guy looking after the tent, spotted him. Simon was so dishevelled and frostbitten on his face that Richard couldn't even tell which of the climbers was coming towards him.
Whoa.
I mean, they hadn't known each other for very long.
You're one of the two, aren't you?
Hey,
You're one of the
Joe,
two guys?
Simon. G'day, mate.
Hey,
Hey, good to see ya.
Yeah.
Bud. Hey, bud. Good to see you, mate.
Simon Joe. Richard had been worried since the guys had been away for 6 days at this point.
6 days.
But he'd been unsure what to do. He'd realised he didn't even know Simon or Joe's surnames to sound the alarm or tell their families if they'd
Wow.
died.
This is
He just
fair.
knew them as Joe and Simon, two English guys.
Yeah. Hey, do you know Joe and Simon from England?
Oh, yes, Joe.
Joe? Oh,
Oh, they love tea.
yeah.
Wow. So, yeah, that's and that was one day before they basically said, if we're not back in 7,
Yeah.
forget about us.
Take your pick of the stuff.
Oh, my God.
They had their own boom boxes as well. Take our boom box. That's
Yeah.
yours now. That's for you. Richard asks, he sees Simon. He realises who it is, that it is Simon. He asks him where Joe was, and Simon told him Joe's dead. Richard got him back into camp and prepared food and drink, a brew, and without judgment, listened to Simon told him exactly what had happened and how he'd been forced to cut the rope. He had decided that the truth was the best option. Simon slept, ate, washed and recovered over the next 2 days. They picked a few keepsakes from Joe's possessions, and this feels very brutal, but burnt most of his clothes to save them having to carry them back.
We couldn't have just left them.
Yeah, for other people to wear and enjoy. If Joe can't have them, no one can.
Burnt them.
Yeah, they set them on fire.
I'm still half going, is there a twist here?
Is there
or
a Jesus? Is
Yeah.
there a Jesus moment?
Well, Richard was keen to leave as soon as possible and get back to Lima and tell the authorities and the English embassy what had happened to Joe. Simon knew that there'd be a lot of drama and paperwork and wanted to rest and recover after his ordeal. But Richard...
his head's in the right place.
Yeah.
His best mate's just died.
Yeah.
Oh, great. This will be paperwork.
This is a lot of rigmarole.
Because it's like 2 days to walk out. So he's like, I want to rest. But Richard kept hassling him, saying they need to get back. Richard also had his own agenda because his visa would run out in 5 days. So he wanted to get back for that.
Huge.
Simon wanted to stay, but he couldn't put his finger on why. He was like, maybe I'm just in denial and I don't want to face reality of telling people what had happened. But Richard said, staying isn't going to help, is it? But Simon persuaded him to wait 1 more day and go to a local farmhouse that encountered on the way there and organise some donkeys to come and get them the first thing the next morning. That night, they hunkered down in the tent as it rained heavy, wet snowflakes. They heard an eerie sound coming from the cloud-filled valley below, very spooky out there. And Simon said, what the hell was that? Richard said, dogs. Bloody odd-sounding dog. And then Richard said, "You'd be surprised. When you were on the mountain, I heard the weirdest things at night. Used to scare the tripes out of me." They finished their game of cards and blew out the candle and settled down into their sleeping bags. They had a big 2 days walk ahead of them. And they were going to leave at first light. But, cut back 3 nights earlier.
Whoa.
Flashback. We're back at the moment where Joe was being lowered by Simon on what they hoped would be the final lowering to the glacier below. Simon lowered him and the angle and speed ratcheted up very fast, like I said, and he realised that could only mean one thing. He was approaching a drop. He screamed out to Simon above to stop, but he couldn't be heard over the storm. He tried to stop himself desperately by digging in his ice axes, but the snow was too loose and he kept sliding until, inevitably, he went over the edge of a drop. He was hanging in space and just doing circles in his harness, which sounds kind of fun.
Oh, unless you get dizzy.
spinsies. Couple of spinsies.
But then you just got to spin the other way.
Whee!
Is that how you reverse dizziness? You spin the other way?
Yeah, I think it works.
Yeah, right.
You get on, back on the gravitron and tell the carny, turn it the other way.
Chuck it in reverse, mate.
Now, he had stopped moving because Simon up above had been able to hold the impact of his full weight coming onto the rope. And he looked up and he was 15 feet below the drop that he'd just gone over.
Okay.
An ice wall was 6 feet away, but he couldn't reach it. And just like 2 years earlier in the Alps, he found himself hanging helplessly. Except this time a helicopter wasn't going to rescue him. He knew there was no way for Simon to haul him up either. Which I can't help but you'd be there hanging there thinking, I chose to be here.
Yeah.
I wanted to be here for fun.
Whoopsie.
Oh.
Yeah, we all find fun in different ways.
Yeah.
Do you do any extreme sporting?
Yeah, what's the
sort of
most
stuff?
extreme stuff?
What's the most extreme extreme things that I do? What have I done? I don't think I'm that extreme, but I'll you know what? I like it when I do an extreme thing, but the power is in someone else's hands.
Oh yeah, tandem skydiving.
Yeah,
sort of stuff.
skydiving. Like that's nothing to me. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Because you feel like I
Oh my
can't
God,
control the
that guy's-
It's a
situation.
ride, yeah.
Yeah, that guy's. Yeah, I
It's
love
like
a
going on a
roll.
roller
Yeah,
coaster.
I love roller
So if you're being
coasters.
dangled over a cliff and someone else is holding the rope, do you feel fine? Because it's there.
Yeah.
They're holding the rope. I'm not
Yeah.
doing anything.
Yeah,
This is easy.
an extreme sport for me. Like the feeling of that is probably just going to a party where I don't know anyone.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do you have to give yourself a bit of a pep talk
Yeah,
beforehand?
the whole
All right,
time
Lizzy,
it's like
we're going in.
All right, so either I get really drunk.
Yeah.
Or-
I've decided I'm leaving my tent at home.
Yeah, yeah,
Say to someone, if I'm not back in 3 days, you can have my stuff.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
yeah. That's more extreme to me.
That
than
is
a
extreme.
skydiving.
My most extreme sport was I used to play tennis when I was a young teen, but I didn't wear tennis shoes because I thought they were uncool. I wanted to compete in skate shoes, which were cool at the time, which gave no support. So that was very dangerous for my ankles.
Oh yeah,
Very
very
extreme.
extreme.
Yeah.
Very extreme.
extreme danger.
That is extreme.
Rocking a pair of DCs on the Ontica.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Ontica.
Not a great combination for grip. But I looked very cool.
yeah, sliding
That
around.
is cool. How were the ankles?
They've never recovered.
A lifetime.
My coach said that I had a great career ahead of me if I'd only wore the right shoes.
Jeez.
So sensible footwear, people. Lock it up.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. Ready to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous 2-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
So Joe, he's dangling. He looked down at the drop below and saw that he was hanging directly over a crevasse in the ice, which was about 100 feet below him. So that's the top of the crevasse, and then that could be another few hundred feet.
Cravat, is that another word related?
Yeah.
Crevice, crevasse, cravat.
Yeah, the
Surely.
scarf.
Maybe that's like 3 levels of Pokemon evolution.
So you start with a cravat. Because if you think about a cravat, it starts thick at the top and then sort of goes down to a point.
Right, yep.
Which a crevasse could do,
Yeah.
Yep.
if you wanted it to.
I think you end with the cravat.
Yeah, I think you end with the cravat.
Oh, okay.
That's the final form. We did an episode about Pokemon recently.
Okay.
Maybe last week.
Matt thinks he's picked up the lingo, but he absolutely hasn't.
Is that not quite right? Lizzie's about my age. She wouldn't know.
Yeah, I don't know Pokemon. Are you kidding? I was more of a Tarzo.
Oh, yeah.
Tarzas were cool.
Tassie Devil Tarzo? Oh, my God.
Huge.
I combine the two by collecting my Pokemon cards and putting them in my Tarzo folder.
Oh, my God.
Did you have a Tarzo folder?
Never.
No. I think I might have had one at a time because they came with a chip packet.
Yeah,
And if I still had it by the end of the day, that's
No.
a win.
Yeah.
You didn't eat an industrial amount of chips like
Yeah,
I did.
Wasn't allowed.
Yeah.
I bankrupted the family to get those Tarzos.
Bad ankles and high cholesterol. That was Dave.
I'm not in good shape.
Would have been a
My
tennis player.
mid-30s. So he was worried that if Simon tried to lower him, that the rope wouldn't be long enough and he would jam on halfway between the two ropes. So he's not looking good, but if he did lower him, he's going into a crevasse. He tried to climb up with a little Prussic knot that he made, this little knot that cleverly grips into the rope. But unfortunately, with his own frostbitten hands, he dropped it.
Drop the knot.
He dropped the knot. Well, you need two, so he got the first one on, which took 15 minutes with his teeth.
God.
And then he got the second one out and he slipped and watched it fall into the crevasse below, which is not very nice to see where you could fall. And
Yes.
also with it, he saw any hopes of ever climbing up go with it.
Oh.
So hanging in the air in a storm with no movement in 2 hours, he thought he would freeze to death. He began to make peace with dying, but felt bad that Simon was probably going to go with him.
Meanwhile.
And he wasn't sure who would go first. He's like, if Simon passes out whilst holding the rope, he'll fall off and then I'll fall too and we'll both go together. Finally, the inevitable moment came and he found himself falling through the air silently and endlessly into nothingness.
I wonder if did he consider cutting his own rope? If he was,
I don't know if he had a knife with him.
oh right,
Oh,
because if he was thinking I'm going to take him with me,
Yeah, I could cut the rope.
but he mustn't have had a knife because otherwise, if he's just waiting to die, you'd think he'd just
think-
go, I may as well.
yeah.
Take one for the team. So he just started falling. He crashed.
It's so funny to talk about all this so blasé. Did he think about just cutting his own
cutting
rope?
it off. Like,
Which we all would do.
Yeah, obviously.
yeah.
Put in that situation, which I often am.
I would cut it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have even got to that point. Like it would have been. I think after
I would
the
have been
last
with-
brew, I would have been like, let's
I would
end
have been
it.
with Richard spewing up at the base camp. Going, what the hell? You want to go up there?
Even
I'm
higher?
out, guys.
You want to go up even higher?
I'll just look after this stuff.
Yeah. I want you to jumping on a donkey and riding back to town.
Yeah. That's
Good luck, guys.
Yeah.
So he kept falling. He crashed through the snow roof of the deep crevasse below, snow engulfing him until he suddenly stopped and was whipped out of this dreamlike feeling of falling.
If falling in a powder like that, I wonder if he's like, is this heaven? It's all
Yeah,
white
it's all
and
white.
soft. And
Sealy, this is a mattress ad.
Oh, memory snow.
is this a posturepedic?
Dazed and extremely confused, he struggled to breathe at first, retching and gagging. His broken leg, which was bent under him, throbbed, but it actually snapped him back to reality. The snow, the pain was so great because he landed with it under him.
Oh.
They shouldn't do that.
Yeah, but he thought, I wouldn't be feeling this pain if I was dead.
If I was in heaven.
Like,
There's no
exactly,
pain in
there's no
heaven.
pain in heaven. Oh no,
Oh no.
Only-
Oh no, I'm in the other one.
no, it's too cold for hell. Okay,
Okay. Is this what's the middle one called again?
Earth. Is this Earth?
No, what's the middle? The waiting place.
Oh, the
Purgatory. Is this purgatory?
Purgatory.
That could be cold and painful.
It could be.
Yeah.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Despite falling more than 200 feet, which is so long, he was alive. He actually laughed out loud and kept laughing until tears rolled down his face. So, echoing in the crevasse, he would sound insane, which he kind of, to be honest, he kind of was at this
And I was
point.
wondering when Richard's saying, "Oh, you hear dogs at night."
Yeah.
These are the dogs he was hearing.
Yeah, the laughing dogs.
Yeah, it's like hyenas or something, but weird ones. It's like hyenas that have gone mad.
Hyenas with rabies out in the snow. He felt around in the darkness and realised he had fortunately landed on a small ledge inside the crevasse.
You're kidding.
There was an ice wall on one side and then a steep drop on the other.
Oh my
He
god.
landed on an ice ledge.
There was still a long way down to the bottom.
He'd want to stop laughing, causing
stay
him a
for
little
still.
avalanche or whatever.
He instinctively reached for his ice hammer, which he still had. It was attached to a lanyard on his belt, and he found he had one single ice screw left. And he very carefully hammered it into the ice wall and attached himself, which was very difficult because his hands are frozen. But the attachment gave him a lot more confidence and stability. Sort of if you roll to your left, you're not going to fall off.
Is this the one who had recently been dangling, or the
He's
other
the
one?
dangler.
Yeah, right.
It is. So he's dangled
been there,
before.
done
Yeah,
that.
he's
He's like,
he's a
this
dangler.
again.
I got this. Yeah.
Oop, just wait for the helicopter.
Yeah.
His legs also dangling. It's a double dangle.
And so he looked over the edge of the abyss with his head torch, and he was perched above it. And he could see with a torch about 100 feet down, but then it went dark again.
Whoa, what is this thing?
So he had no idea how far down it was.
Has anyone ever gone in this? What is it? So it's just like there's peaks around and it's
It's just like a crack in the glacier that can go all the way down to the bottom of the glacier, which can be hundreds of feet.
Wow.
And they constantly change over time. Like this
Right.
crevasse wouldn't be there anymore.
right.
Wow.
So if he fell into it, he just never would have been found.
Yeah, but then every now and then, I think people fall into a crevasse, and then literally decades later, because glaciers constantly move down the mountain, the body comes out
Would just be
frozen. And
Perfect.
sometimes there's like, climbers from 80 years ago, that's their body comes out.
That's kind of what Utsi happened, sort of? He gets stuck in a crevasse.
Oh, the
something?
Utsi Iceman.
Yeah, or something.
Yeah, he was frozen for 5,000 years. This is the
But that was-
mummy with a curse.
There was
the mummy.
in a Bill Bryson book, he was talking about how sometimes like they move around. So like any fossils or anything that's preserved is like quite unlikely because they move around and can really just like slush you up.
Oh, right. And then like maybe your skull goes that way and your arm goes that way. Crocodile came up, beat me into parts.
Pieces.
Head went that way and skull
Was
went
that
way.
you?
Yeah, that was me.
I believe that was you. That was one of my first roles.
That wouldn't be bad though, getting frozen. I think better than being burned.
Yes, I'd take.
I'd take
I
frozen.
think so. I guess burn would be quicker. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then frozen, you can be found later.
Oh yeah.
You like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I'd like
Would you,
that.
Drowning's meant to be pretty good way.
But do you think as you're being frozen, you get yourself into a pretty cool position? So when you
Yeah.
eventually get put out by the glacier, you've got rock and roll.
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
Rope into the belay plate signal.
Yeah.
yeah?
It's not a penis, it's a rope.
Or you could just do it for real. To put your actual penis in there. If you got one, chuck it in your own hand.
Jeez. My
Frozen.
last act is to pull down my pants.
Wait.
I got a really good bit.
This would be really good.
Yeah.
This would be really
This is
funny.
going to be classic.
Yeah. He died with his pants around his ankle.
Because you would find that body and go, what has happened
He
here?
would.
Happened?
He
Foul play.
petugged it to death. What was that word? The sleeping bag word?
Bivouac. He bivouacked himself.
Bivouacked himself to death.
Petug.
Patug. Oh, the old patug.
I'm going to go sleep in my petug. Bivouac.
Bivouac.
It's a bivouac. I think that sounds like a Sussex person saying they were going to go have a bit of private time. I'm going to go sort myself out. Yeah. Have a bivouac.
Yeah. A bivouac.
Bivouac.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, have a bivouac. What are you going tonight? Oh, maybe.
Bivouac.
Maybe.
Wine with the girls and bivouac.
Yeah, bivouac.
A bit of me time.
Bit of me time, yeah.
Bivouac, bit of me time.
Yeah.
So now we've made English people and Americans happy today.
Yes.
Multiple continents.
Yes.
And I probably said some of these Peruvian names wrong as well.
Wait,
Probably.
wrong? What do you mean wrong? I think we were just nailing
So
it.
wrong it was right.
Oh,
So wrong, so right.
So he's on this ledge. He looks up. He can see the stars through the hole that he's fallen through. And
Oh, beautiful.
it's a lovely image.
lovely.
Beautiful. He's naming the constellation.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
He discovered one as well.
Yeah.
Well, in the Southern Hemisphere, seen the Southern Cross. Beautiful.
Oh.
He guessed he was 50 feet into the crevice and decided he'd wait until morning when Simon would hopefully come looking for him.
Oh, my
But then he had the thought, oh, hang on, what if Simon is dead if he's dead? The long rope that Joe had been hanging on when he fell was actually still going up to the roof of the crevasse.
Right.
He thought that maybe Simon had fallen off the mountain himself and that his body might be on the other side. And it's a morbid thought, but maybe he could use the weight of Simon's body on the other side as an anchor. As it goes over the roof and down the other side to sort of pull himself back up. So he grabs the rope and he starts pulling at it, but then the rope just keeps coming until it falls down on his face.
With a very clean cut.
And he looks at it and he instantly realizes, oh, it's been cut.
Oh.
Simon's not there, okay?
Meanwhile, Simon is playing cards with Richard.
But he's thinking, well, at least Simon, I know Simon's probably alive. He might come and get me.
Oh, true.
It would have been tempting for the other fella, Simon or Joe. Who's out?
Simon's up above.
For Simon to go tell a slightly different story, but if Joe's going to come out holding the cut rope he's in the middle of telling Richard, anyway, there's nothing I could do.
I reached out, I tried to grab him, I was a real hero. The last thing he said was, I love you, Simon.
He said, you're the best man in the world.
Yeah.
You can have my cassette
It's okay.
tapes.
It's okay.
Sorry, Richard, he let me have the tapes.
And he comes like, what's this?
What's this clean cut rope?
Oh my God, you must have...
God.
Did the rope fall on a rock and cut perfectly?
Beautiful cut.
A rock and a chopping board.
A knife? I've never seen a knife in my life.
No, what is a knife? I don't even know the word. How do you spell it? Probably with an N, because that's what it sounds like. Otherwise I would have... How would I have not known it wasn't spelled with a K? Oh, no. Oh, no. I've said too much. Jeez, he just keeps talking.
Stop
mate,
it.
if you stop...
Shut up.
Quit while you're behind,
Just be the
mate.
strong, silent type.
Yeah.
Just look sad. You've been through a lot.
You've
Stop
been
talking.
through a lot.
But that didn't happen.
Okay.
So he's there. He looks up. The ice walls were too steep to climb up where he's come from. Even if he didn't have a broken leg, he couldn't do it. He shouted Simon's name, but a feeling of dread hit him, and he considered that Simon would probably think he was dead because he's fallen into this huge crevasse.
Oh, yeah.
He thought the irony of falling and surviving unscathed was almost unbearable because he's like almost made it. And now he's fallen into this thing. He's like, it's impossible what he's done to have survived and fallen onto this tiny ledge. That's great luck, but now you're stuck here, which is very bad luck.
But maybe part of him starts to think, I'm meant to survive this. You know?
You need to get out of it. Yeah, a bit of hope.
But these two lost their faith, didn't they?
Yes. He's got no faith.
If they still had the faith, they'd be like, God's looking after me here. Without the faith, you're like, oh, fuck.
Oh, they've
Nature
got no
is just
faith.
messing with me.
Maybe they do have faith, though.
Maybe.
This is the kind of thing that might get it back for you.
Give it back or never. Or,
See, I
nail
would
in
have
the
just rolled off the ledge. All right.
No.
doo-doo.
You just keep thinking about it.
After you pulled your pants down.
Yeah, I'm going to pull my pants
So
down
you
and
keep
roll
thinking about
off the
how you want to
ledge.
leave a perfect corpse.
Yeah.
He's like, well, if I die at 25, at least I look pretty good.
Yeah.
The other feeling that he had of dread was he considered that no one dies of a broken leg, and now trapped, he'd probably die a long and drawn out death. Wait to, dehydrate and starve completely. And with this, he started screaming obscenities into the darkness, echoing in the chamber around him. This is when he had a breakdown.
Oh, only.
Yeah.
Now.
I mean, how has he kept it together this
Wow.
long?
I had a
He's
breakdown
having
at base camp.
Yeah.
I had a breakdown when they said you got to ride this donkey. What the fuck?
How
Breakdown.
far?
But what's a breakdown? I want to know. Like what? No, like his breakdown.
What's his breakdown?
His version of
Fuck
breakdown.
you, fuck,
Yeah,
couple of
fuck.
C-bombs.
Couple of dog howls.
Yeah. Punching the ice a little bit.
Yeah.
Pulling down his pants for no reason.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
But eventually he fell asleep, and when he woke up, he decided he wasn't just going to lie there. He had no idea how deep the crevasse was, but decided to lower himself down in the vain hope of finding a floor below and another way out.
Oh, maybe there's a
The
door
back
down there.
door.
Maybe there's an elevator.
Yeah.
Or like some sort of James Bond villain's lair or something.
Yeah, or Willy Wonka's there and says, "You did it."
Yeah.
This was all a test.
This is all a
Pass the
test.
test.
You get the chocolate factory.
So he attached his rope. He was fortunate that where Joe had cut the rope, Manny had quite a lot of rope, had over 100 feet of it. So he attached his rope to the ice screw and lowered himself down off the ledge. Very scary because you're going just into the darkness. You don't know how deep it is.
With a broken leg.
Yes. But he didn't bother tying a knot on the end. He decided that if he fell, at least it would be quick. He certainly wasn't going to climb back up to the ledge and just wait to die. It was kind of an all or nothing. Either I find the floor or I'm going to fall and die.
Okay.
It's all in.
Ultimatum.
I find the floor or the floor finds me.
Exactly. One way or another, he's going to feel that floor.
Yeah.
He slowly abseiled and lowered himself down, and to his amazement, after a very scary period of hanging in complete darkness, eventually he came to a snow floor.
Oh, when there's a snow floor, there could be a snow door.
Yeah.
No one builds a snow floor without a snow door. That makes no sense. What's more, he could see a little beam of sunlight poking through,
Oh my god.
and it was on top of a very steep, but not too steep, cone of snow that he might be
Snow
able to...
cone?
That he, yeah,
Wow. Oh,
What flavour?
red, green, blue.
the full rainbow.
Yeah.
Red flavour.
Yeah.
Anything but yellow. And he decided, I might be able to climb it. This is my way out. But he was elated until he realised it wasn't a proper floor that he was now standing on, but some, like a subfloor built up of snow that hung precariously over another huge drop.
Oh, subfloor. Over the basement.
Yeah.
Snow basement.
He was only halfway down the crevasse. There was another
My
hundreds of
god.
feet to go.
Does he have much rope left?
No, he's only got just enough rope.
Just enough.
He's still
Give
hanging
him
onto the
enough rope.
screw. To get over to the ledge, he had to crawl very slowly and carefully, hoping that the snow floor wouldn't collapse. Because the worst possible scenario, he thought, was he'd be trapped on one side of the crevasse, and then on the other side would be that ledge, and he could never get to it. And there'd be a path out, but he could just couldn't get there. There'd be a drop in between. But very slowly and carefully, he crawled over. He made it to the slope that rose to the hole in the roof, which he painstakingly climbed using his axes and one good leg, sort of hoisting himself up by stabbing into the snow. The slope got steeper and steeper as he approached the sunlight, and he almost fell twice. And if he did that, it would have been game over again. But after more than 5 hours of climbing, he reached the top and crawled out into the sunshine.
Oh my god.
What?
It was the most stupendous view he'd ever seen.
Well, silver linings.
Yeah. Oh, what a lovely vista.
I never looked here before.
Oh, that's fantastic. I wouldn't have even thought to look here. If I hadn't come through this crack.
So he lay in the sun as relief washed over him. He's like, oh my God, I'm out of the crevasse. I thought I was going to die in there.
Now I'm going to die out
The
here.
sun, at least it'd be a bit warmer.
His relief was short-lived as he looked around and realised what lay ahead of
Oh
him.
my god.
Between him and base camp, he had 1.5 miles or 2.5 kilometres of crevasse-filled glacier, then 6.5 miles or over 10 kilometres of moraines, which are the rocky mounds left by the glacier. So his journey back, if he was going to make it, was only just beginning.
This feels like the end of one of those Lord of the Rings movies, or one, those movies where you're like, oh, it's over. Oh, no,
it's not.
Season 2 is
That's
coming.
right. Oh no, this is a Peter Jackson movie. It goes for 4 hours. He saw Simon's rope still hanging off the mountain where he'd abseiled down, which meant great news, Simon's probably alive, but bad news, he's probably not coming back. He presumed that he thought Joe was dead, and rescue teams aren't sent out to find a dead man. He's like, if I'm going to get out of this, I'm going to have to do it myself. He could have given up, but he decided to try and crawl.
He's not a giving up kind of guy.
No.
I think we've learnt that about him.
Is it having an army dad? Did your dad instill in you never give up?
Oh, no.
That's excellent.
Yeah, I don't think he was like a real army guy. My dad always said like he just used to enroll in all the sports so he wouldn't have to work. But it's weird because he knows all the British sports.
Ah.
Yeah, like he fences.
Oh, right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, that's something you can do. You join the army and then just enroll in all the sports?
Yeah.
So they send you to the front line, but he's like, whoa, I got fencing training tonight.
I'm
Sorry.
playing hockey right
Yeah.
now.
I'm on the cricket team, on the basketball team.
Honestly, he was on
rugby.
Yeah, he
That
was
sounds
on
like a good gig.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Yeah.
All right. I'm enlisting.
British, yeah.
Yeah, if you get to play sport all day.
If it's it's just PE non-stop.
He did join when he was 12 years old.
Did you really?
Wow, they took
They
him
take
young.
him young.
They take him
Was this
young.
around World War II? Or like,
This was just probably after the 50s. Yeah, he would have been in. My
So-
dad was born in 1939.
I love that. They're desperate for people to join the army, but then they're like, yeah, you can play sport all day, though.
Yeah.
We'll take a 12-year-old. Yeah. But just go play soccer. So he started crawling. This was
This is a pathetic. This is the most pathetic.
a pathetic way of travelling.
Oh, you're crawling
Isn't it
now.
like is the exact opposite of pathetic, this guy?
Yeah.
Like the most non-pathetic guy I've ever heard of. Ah, pathetic.
His face was pathetic.
Just on his hands and knees.
Yeah. Oh, man. I can tell you how pathetic I would be in comparison to this guy.
I'd be crying.
Like, I never want to meet Simon because he'd just chew me up and spit me
Yeah.
out. You pathetic little worm. So it was painful, painstaking, but also dangerous, as from the ground, it's very difficult to plot a path along that won't result in you falling into another crevasse that litter the glacier. Some of them are also, they've got snow over the top so you can't see them. Fortunately, Joe had a bit of luck. Simon's tracks were still visible from where he'd traced their tracks a few days earlier, giving him a path that he could trust.
Luck, but also
Yeah, I know. What a lucky
this
guy.
jerk.
He's so lucky.
Yeah. He left me hanging.
You
He
bastard.
didn't do that. He did the opposite of that.
He moved at a snail's pace, but to motivate himself, Joe would pick a point of ice or a rock in the distance and challenge himself to get there in like 20 minutes, checking his cheap digital watch to keep him on track.
That's sort of a Principal Skinner sort of.
How many times you can bounce a basketball in a minute?
Yeah, exactly. Or when he's got Bart licking envelopes. We'll turn it into a game.
See how many you can lick in a minute and try and beat your record. Yeah. If he made it, like he set this little challenge, if he made it, he would be ecstatic. It would like keep him going. But if he didn't, he would get quite upset, sometimes to the point of tears for not making it. Because it became everything. Setting these smaller goals helped break down the insane task ahead of him and take his mind off the fact that you're probably going to die anyway.
Isn't this a good life lesson?
Yeah.
You know?
Break it
Small
down.
goals.
Small tasks.
Break it down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He'd be a great motivational speaker if he gets through this.
Yeah.
I reckon he would have been big on the corporate
On the
circuit.
corporate sector. Yeah.
Cha-ching.
And that's when I started crawling. Just like you could crawl your way to financial freedom. In other ways, time lost all meaning. So keeping track of the watch was great, but sometimes he also lost it because he's dehydrated and he was quickly becoming delirious, which was exacerbated by the fact he was alone, had no one to talk to. He would rest for what felt like 5 minutes, but then look at his watch and see that it had been over 45 and the time just went.
Wasting.
There were times that he was also crawling along and he thought he could hear he thought he could hear Simon and Richard behind him.
Yeah.
And he was kind of thinking, what are they there? And he thought, they don't want to embarrass me. So they're staying out of sight.
Oh, it's just...
But they're there. They're
Tricking
there with me.
himself
Yeah.
to-
But his mind is just absolutely breaking down.
Has he eaten?
Yeah, I've been wondering.
Hasn't eaten anything
For days.
for days.
And
3-4
he's not a
days.
bread.
Nothing to drink either.
I'm guessing he's not even got his pack on anymore or anything.
He's still got most of his supplies with him at this
Okay.
stage.
But not food supplies.
No food left.
What supplies has he got then?
Like all the
Spare socks.
ice picks and...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a headband.
Yeah.
Just to look cool.
Yeah.
Journal.
Yeah. Dear diary, I'm fucked. He would often be tempted to give up or rest in his sleeping bag, but his personality also split into two, and he had what he describes as the voice, which was the rational, unemotional, objective side of his brain, willing him on. He wrote, "The voice was clean, sharp and commanding. It was always right, and I listened to it, and I always acted on its decisions." So like it would tell him, don't sleep, keep going. And he'd go, okay, voice. And he
It'd
would
be
keep
like
going.
an episode of The Voice.
He thought about his favourite judge from The Voice, Seal.
Ew.
Would Seal turn around?
Around. Seal turns around. Okay, I'll keep going.
I'm doing it for you, Seal.
Seal believes in me. He's losing it.
Seal wants me on his team.
I better get there. I want to get my golden ticket to Sydney.
I can't even sing. But Seal knows talent.
Seal does know talent.
Meanwhile, he's travelling like a seal, right?
Flapping along.
Crawling.
Pathetic. Look at this guy.
So he describes that's one side of his mind, the voice. He also had the other half, which just rambled on. It was disconnected. He would just see images and memories and hopes and dreams that would just sort of play in his vision.
This was the dicko.
Yeah.
You're nothing.
Yeah. Why are you wearing
Being a
that?
bit harsh.
You're fat.
You're fat. Yeah, you think
You'll never make it in this industry.
You
Yeah.
can't pull that off. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's offensive you even came to this stage today.
you're pathetic.
He often sung pop songs over and over in his head. You just get this song.
Oh my God, he's on the
Wow.
voice.
All right.
Kissed by a Rose. Unfortunately, a storm once again came over and Joe spent a night in a crudely dug snow cave. He awoke desperately thirsty as he'd been 3 days and 2 nights now without food or water. But he crawled on and eventually he got off the glacier to the moraines, the rocky area below. And this part, he wasn't able to crawl as some of the rocks were more like boulders. So he ditched a bunch of his gear to make it easier to move and created a splint out of a camping bed.
Wow.
And it also acted as a bit of a foam protection around his very, very sore knee, because the only way he could move was to hoist himself up on his axe and sort of hop, using it as a walking stick. But he fell over almost every hop.
Oh my God.
And it was really, really painful.
Oh.
Jeez.
He travelled very, very slowly, but would look back and see that he'd made some progress, and this gave him more will to keep going. Eventually, he got some water from a very small stream, like literally like a drip, and he like dug a hole in a rock and was just sort of sipping the water, which was full of dirt, but he felt like he regained some strength. He felt himself getting some life back into
Dirt
him.
water.
And he started to believe he could actually make it back to base camp. But as he went, he became more and more delirious and soldiered on even at nightfall, which resulted in him falling over dozens and dozens of times in the dark, only going a few feet. But he spent like 5 hours.
It's probably not the
Not
best
worth
use
it.
of his
Not
time.
worth it. Until eventually he fell down and he was so exhausted he couldn't get back up, so he fell asleep where he lay. He woke the next morning in the sun.
Oh, how
Brilliant.
nice would that be?
Exactly. But then a horrible thought struck him that hadn't occurred until now. He's like, I might make it back there, but will anyone be there when I get there?
It's not like it's not like there's a car park and a kiosk.
Telephone.
Yeah.
Hey, excuse me, can I use your phone?
Yeah, is this the early 2000s? No, when is this?
1985.
1985.
Excuse me, can I use your very large car phone, businessman?
Sorry. He's doing the classic 80s businessman finger up.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Anyway, sell.
Sorry,
Sell.
I'll just be a minute. So yeah. He calculated that it was the morning of Simon's third day back, so they had no reason to wait after Simon regained his strength. He decided he would have to make it back to camp that day to have any chance of meeting them. He checked his watch, it was 8 a.m. and he had 10 hours of daylight left. The voice willed him on and he got to the point...
Voice. Seal.
Seal.
You mean
Baby! He got to the point where he thought he should be able to see the tents down below, but when he got there... It was misty and he couldn't see anything.
Oh.
So he didn't know if they were there or if they'd left. Night fell. He still wasn't quite there. He considered getting into his sleeping bag, but he knew that this would mean he'd never get out of it. He would just die in the bag.
Oh.
So he wandered on in the night. Though obviously, if you're in the sleeping bag, you pull your pants down. So when someone gets you out, they're like, "Oh, bit of fun, bit of fun,
Bivouacky.
yeah, bit of
Bivouacky.
one last bivouac and a bivouac, eh?" he wandered on in the night. His torch had gone, no battery left. He thought he was wandering towards the camp, but he was completely lost. He's delirious. He's losing what was left of his mind.
This is one of the most badass guys I've ever heard of.
This is some biblical stuff.
Yeah.
Incredible. The snow and wind picked up and he collapsed. And the song, Brown Girl in the Ring by Boney M, played over and over in his head for what felt like hours on loop.
How's that one go, Dave?
Brown girl in the ring, tra-la-la-la-la. Anything with a tra-la-la, you don't want that going over and over in your mind. And he wasn't a fan of the group. He couldn't get it out of his head.
Worst earworm.
Or concentrate on anything else. It's the only thing he couldn't he was trying to will himself to concentrate on something else, but that's all he could think about. And he thought, bloody hell, I'm going to die to Boney M. Which he's not even a fan of at all. But then something snapped him out of it. He started to smell shit. Like really
He shit himself.
really bad human shit. And the smell snapped him out of his delirium like someone putting...
Sweetest thing he'd ever smelled.
It was like smelling salts like under a boxer's nose. Like, oh, it jolted him out. He stopped singing Brown Girl in the Ring. He realised where he must be. He must have wandered or crawled through the camp's latrine that he knew was only 100 metres away from the tents.
Crawled through it.
Yeah, so he's crawled through a pile of shit. Pathetic. Go round the shit, pathetic.
This shit smells fresh.
Yeah. This shit tastes fresh.
This is Simon's.
I know that shit anyway. He realised he was not capable of going any further, so he just started yelling out Simon's name into the void. The call was unanswered. And the faint hope that they would still be there and had not returned to the city quickly faded. Joe accepted. He was dead. But Simon and Richard had heard the cry from their nearby tent. And they were
the
very
weird sound.
There was the weird
This is a
sound.
weird
When
sound.
Richard's like, it's just a dog. But it kept saying, Simon, Simon.
The dog.
Why does the dog know my name?
I've got to go meet this dog.
Just wolves.
But they were very confused. It could only be Joe, the only one who knows their name, but he was dead. He'd been dead for 3 days. But the noise kept coming, so they threw on their torches and ventured out into the windy night because it's sort of still storming. And they kept looking, yelling out, Joe, is that you? They found him. He was obviously not in a good way. And they quickly carried Joe back to the tent.
In a word, how was he looking?
I mean, he was held together by a bed.
He was covered in shit.
He was covered in your shit.
Absolutely pathetic. Joe, is that my shit?
What are you, Joe? What are you doing? You've lost it, Joe. Joe. What happened to you, man? I don't know you at all. The Joe I know wouldn't crawl through my shit.
Joe, I didn't realise you're a sicko.
We've been waiting for you, but I don't know if I want to take you home anymore.
Clean yourself up.
Against all odds,
Holy shit.
he had survived and made it all the way back, crawling and hopping for 3 straight days with a shattered leg.
This is one, I don't think I've heard a story wild on this. I'm sure I have on this podcast, but none
We
of
love a
them
survival story here. We love a survival.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so
This is
crazy.
the original Alone.
Yes, he's so alone.
Yeah.
But eventually, so they got him back into the tent quickly. The first thing Joe said to Simon was to thank him for trying to get him down the mountain and to tell him that he would have done the same thing and cut the road.
Oh, that's amazing.
Which was a real relief to Simon, who's a bit like,
Phew.
do you know what happened?
Did you see the rope?
Yeah. Simon made another cut into Joe's pants to examine his broken leg and saw...
Oh, nice.
And he's in his
Joe's
side.
pants.
He's got his hand
Bivouacky.
in the ring position.
He saw that his leg was in a horrible way. The knee and all the way down to the shin were as thick as his thigh. The swelling was so bad. It needed urgent medical attention to avoid serious infection because it's already been
Wow.
5 days since he's broken it. He's crawled along everything. He's taken no medicine. So bad. He let Joe sleep for just 3 hours, but after some food and drink and plugging him full of the general antibiotics they carried with him, he insisted that they get on the road as soon as the donkeys arrived at dawn. So they were going to leave in 3 hours. He'd only made it back with 3 hours to spare.
That is
Wow.
wild.
And if he hadn't made it in time, he would have crawled there and just died, and
It's like the
possibly no one would have found him for decades or if ever.
He
the
just would've-
reverse of the Burke and Will story where they'd left just a few hours before.
Yeah, they just missed but he just made it.
Just me.
Joe was like, please, just let me sleep. But Simon's like, mate, I've got to get you to hospital. I know it sucks, but we have to go. So the donkeys came. Joe at this point had lost 35% of his body weight and had to ride strapped to a mule for 2 days with his leg absolutely aching. And then after 2 days on the mules, he had to ride 23 hours in the back of a ute, a pickup truck. Finally, he got to a hospital 11 full days after breaking his leg.
Oh, my God.
And when he got there, they had to do a painstaking call to Britain to make sure he had insurance before they treated him.
Oh, my God.
So he's lying there going, forgive me something. But they're like, sorry, got to check that you've got insurance.
What's the Peruvian deal?
The finest Peruvian hospital.
Yeah, it's a great hospital, but we don't know if we
I'm
want
good
you.
for it. We'll get you the money.
Yeah.
Please.
Have whatever you want. He was told he would never climb again and that he would walk with a limp for the rest of his life. But 6
Not a bad outcome.
Oh, I'd take that.
Yeah.
I reckon at one of the crevasses he was in, he would have said, I'd take that. I'll take that deal.
If someone said that to you,
Yeah.
you take that handshake.
Yeah.
But 6 operations later, both these claims were proven to be false, and incredibly, Joe returned to climbing just 2 years later.
What?
He went back.
Give it up.
Give it up.
Give it up.
What was he climbing? Hopefully he's coming to Australia.
Yeah.
I'm gonna climb the tallest mountain in Australia.
Yeah. I'm doing Cosy.
There's the steps that go all the way to the top, I
There's
think.
a nice Airbnb.
It's gonna be lovely. Yeah. When he got home to England, according to The Guardian, Joe retreated to a friend's attic to write the book over 7 weeks, purely because the facts of his stricken ascent up Siula Grande as a 25-year-old had been greatly misrepresented through rumours in the climbing world, and he wanted to set the story straight. He wanted to tell the story and also defend Simon and his friend's action of cutting the rope.
Oh, people were turning
Sort
on
of being
Simon.
like, I think most people in the general mountaineering community, Simon says, understood, but then other people would hear the story and go, how could you do that?
Yeah.
But people that know it's life or death up there understood. But yeah, Joe wanted to get the story straight. He expected to sell around 500 copies of the book Touching the Void within the climbing world. Who else would be interested? But it has sold well over 1 million copies.
Oh.
For many readers, myself included, it was the first mountaineering book they or I've ever read. So it's and I loved it. It's a gateway. I think I'm going to read more of these things. It's awesome. About 15% of the book is written by Simon Yates himself, giving his perspective of what happened up there, and it goes back and forth between the two of them. So you get a story in their own words, which is awesome. The book, like I said, he sold the movie rights, and for ages it was going to be like an action blockbuster, and people laughed that Tom Cruise was going to play one of them. It was so funny. And apparently the joke was, what's Nicole Kidman going to play the other one?
That's so funny because I can't picture Tom Cruise not being on a mountain. You know?
Yeah, like
If
he's
great on a mountain. Yeah, he'd be great.
I honestly think,
on a donkey.
Oh
Tom
my
Cruise
God.
what? Yeah.
he's going to surf that donkey.
Yeah.
He'd probably play that role now, a 25-year-old man.
60 years old, yeah. The book was eventually adapted after a bit of development hell into the 2003 docudrama of the same name, like I mentioned at the top. You've seen it, Lizzie, at the cinema. Directed by...
Theaters.
The theatre. Directed by Kevin McDonald. Joe and Simon recount their story to the camera, and then actors recreate the ordeal. But the two men doubled as their younger selves for longer distance shots.
That's fun.
And were on site to explain to the director how they felt. Simon found this okay, but Joe, being back out there, brought back some very dark memories, and he suffered panic attacks out on the mountain.
Fair enough.
Not surprising.
Yeah, fair enough.
But he did go back to climbing.
Yeah.
Did they ever have any therapy?
In the 80s, I don't think
I don't
so.
think
no. I don't think so at all, no.
Yeah, he went climbing again.
He went climbing.
Face your fears.
Exactly. Get back on the horse.
Push it down.
Back on the donkey. The film was a huge success and critically acclaimed, but Simon wasn't happy when he saw it, thinking that it hadn't told the full story and he thought it was selectively edited.
Oh, did
'Cause I think-
Simon look like a bit of a dick?
Yeah.
Maybe?
I don't think so, but his main problem was that they didn't put enough emphasis, and I hope I have here, on his big effort to lower Joe
Right.
over many hours,
Right.
risking his own life before cutting the rope. That bit's sort of glossed over a bit.
Oh, okay.
And then it focuses on the fall a lot more, but he's a bit like, man, I didn't just ditch him straight away. We spent hours risking our lives getting him down, and my hands were frozen, but they didn't really talk about that as much in the movie.
Yeah.
And he was like, I look a bit callous, but I wasn't. And Joe's always defended him like staunchly. Sadly, despite what they've been through together, Joe and Simon no longer speak, having drifted apart after the film. Simon Yates told 9 News in 2015 in a rare interview, I don't have anything in common with him anymore.
Oh,
Which is a bit sad.
Well, you know, friends from your early 20s.
Yeah, that's right.
Drifted
yeah,
apart from a
that's
few of them.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
It's this crazy that this story will always tie them together, though. Yeah.
And you do think that it's the kind of thing you do a yearly catch-up or something?
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
don't.
let's have our reunion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On rope
Our
cut day.
near-death reunion.
Joe Simpson, who amazingly survived, continued climbing until 2009, at which point...
GFC. Yeah.
Oh,
that had a lot of
that
effects.
will
I know it was a couple of years
Unexpected.
earlier, but
Finally, he had to face the music.
Trickled, yeah.
He was in denial for a couple of years, but
Yeah.
no, at that point he was in so much pain descending from a summit in Nepal that he realised, quote, all the checks I cashed in my 20s had come through. He told The Guardian, there are old climbers and bold climbers, but no old, bold climbers.
Oh, profound.
it's profound because it rhymes.
Yeah, I love it.
These days he's a keen fly fisher, which he says is not
that's
quite
it.
the same, but the grief of losing climbing took 5 years to get over.
Wow.
Five measurable years.
To the day. And then he went, you know what? I'm just going to fish. It's fun.
But he took it down a notch. Is there a bigger drop-off
Yeah.
in terms of extreme to fly fishing?
fishing.
That's the slowest.
Yeah, I reckon there's got to be something in the middle, like playing tennis in skate shoes or something. That's
Yeah,
half as badass.
that's
You know?
definitely
Or like,
halfway.
mountain fishing. Ice fishing?
Ice fishing.
Ice fishing's halfway,
There
I
we
think.
go.
He just misses being cold. He's also written multiple other books about climbing. Some are non-fiction and some are novels. He's like writing Touching the Void, and the success of that encouraged him. He's like, I think I'm actually a pretty good writer, and he's written multiple books since.
What do you think of that? You think you liked his writing style?
Yeah, I did. The only criticism I'll have of the book is I feel like he didn't get to know him or Simon that well, or who they are before the climb. It's very technical and very factual about what happened. So that's why I tried to research about their earlier lives and what they'd studied and things like that, because you weren't sure what sort of family life they had back home or anything like that. And there was no context. And the film was the same. It was very much like we'll focus on this. And I like to get a bit of a story of who they are.
that makes sense. But also his motivation to write it was about just setting the
and he thought
story straight.
other mountaineering people would read it. So there's a few bits where I'm like, yeah, snow flutings, I know what they are. Whereas quickly Google it, like, oh, that is dangerous.
If he'd written like, so I was born in the countryside or whatever,
Yeah.
other mountaineers would be like, give a shit about this.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Tell the story,
Get
man.
to the mountain. Matt, you were also right, though. He's also made a great living as a public speaker.
Oh, yeah. That makes
He's in
sense.
demand.
Shit.
Yeah, in
I
demand.
wonder what his rate is. That's what I want to know. I reckon it's in the tens.
Yeah.
Well, he writes
like
in-
$50.
No, the tens of thousands.
Thousands. Yes.
In the version I got of Touching the Void, the book, he'd it after the film, so that's why I know the stuff about the panic attacks. He'd written like an addendum, and he talked about how sometimes he considers, was it worth going through all this, because he now is very financially secure because of the book,
He's
the movie
rich.
rights, the public
He's
speaking.
rich.
He's done quite well for himself, and he wonders, was it worth it?
He still's like, this wasn't worth it because
He's not sure. He's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
well, if I could take it back, would I?
he's also like, he was already wealthy, didn't you say?
I think he was doing okay.
It sounded like
Sounded like
they
he's a
came
wealthy
from-
background.
Yeah.
But he's certainly from from this story set himself up. 35 years later, his mountaineering partner Simon Yates is still climbing and runs expeditions through his company Mountain Dreams. You can join him. If the website's active, I've been on there. You can join him in Nepal in 2024 or Bolivia in 2025.
Wow,
Working
guys.
title was Mountain Nightmares, but the focus groups made him soften it a bit.
Wow, let's do it. Bolivia.
Should we?
2025.
Should we do it?
Yeah.
I think it's about $7,000 or $8,000.
Okay.
Okay.
I think you'll go to the 3 highest peaks in Bolivia. How tall could they be?
By helicopter or how we get there?
Donkey, of course.
okay.
Preferred method. I reckon they had a falling out by from money, maybe.
It could be. I'm not sure how the right. Yeah, because Simon did co-write the book, and I'm not sure if he gets because it's 15%. I've even read that. Did they calculate? You write this much, so you get 15% of the movie rights and all that.
Yeah, if he's still working for $7,000, $8,000 a climb.
Yeah. But he does
the
love
guy's still talking for tens of dollars.
Tens of dollars.
Well, Simon has also written 3 books about mountaineering and is also a public speaker. So you can get Simon out there.
Cheaper.
Yeah,
Probably
15% of the price.
to address your...
How to ditch your friends. No, let me tell you, that's not actually how it went. Still, that would be pretty heartbreaking.
So cut the rope, cut the safety net, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
See? To this day, Simon Yates and Joe Simpson remain the only people to have successfully reached the summit of Siula Grande from the west face.
I love that it's considered a success.
Well, they've got the photo survived. So they've got all the photos of them out there, on top of them, on the peak, before it all went awry.
Isn't that incredible? Because often when a big barrier is broken, then other people start doing it easily.
Yeah. They saw that, they're like, no way.
Yeah, someone moonwalks up backwards.
Yeah.
But not in this case.
In this case, yeah, because it's a famous story, but in their community, it's like a legendary mountaineering survival story.
It's I'd never heard of it, never heard of the story or the book or the movie.
Did you remember much from the
I
theater?
don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember much from the movie, actually. I remember enjoying it.
Because when he knew it, I was like, damn, you know that he's going to survive.
I didn't remember that.
But I wasn't sure if Matt knew. Because when you read the book, you know he survives because he wrote it. When you see the movie, you know he survives because he tells the story. But I told it in a different way where I did Simon's bit first. But in the movie and the book, they actually flash between the two of them. He's packing up burning his clothes while Joe's in the crevasse going, what the fuck?
No, I think I like your way of telling it.
But yeah, obviously if you interview them or have the book written by the guy, you know he's not.
Yeah, true.
Wow. What a tale.
That's a crazy tale.
What a time. Thank you so much for joining us, Lizzy.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. That was amazing.
Couldn't have thought of a better person here.
I was so
we got the family connection.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you knew this guy,
Our
basically.
dads knew each other. I was so engrossed in that story. I felt like I was not speaking enough. You know how at the start you said...
where I said, you can't speak...
and I was like...
Sometimes we have guests on and they say,
like
did I speak too much? No, you can't speak too much. But
I was like this.
But you also spoke the perfect amount. What did you say, Matt? The perfect amount.
Oh,
perfect
okay.
amount. 15%. Before, Dave and I will shout out some of our patrons in a minute, but before you head off, Lizzy, where can people find those hats?
Yes. Just go to my Instagram, Lizzy at Lizzy Hoo, Hoo.
And the idea was you turned 40.
Yes.
And so you made these bucket hats with Asian gracefully
on it. Yes, that's it. So Asians can buy them. Anyone can buy them. As long as you buy the hat.
I just wear mine around the house.
Yeah, you can wear it inside out.
Inside out. What's on the inside?
Just it. Reverse the embroidery.
Beautiful.
Reverse.
People can't read it backwards.
Yeah.
No.
That's a good look. An inside out hat.
Buy a hat, and you're always doing stand up and shows around Australia.
Yeah, just give the socials a follow.
Yeah, what is your Instagram again?
At Lizzy Hoo.
At Lizzy Hoo.
Yeah. HOO.
You got it.
Yeah, I got it.
Got it.
Got it on the ground floor.
At Lizzy Hoo. And your shows every year are some sort of a Who pun, is that right?
Yeah, some sort of a Who pun.
You worked on the next one yet?
I was I can't say. Because I always do a guess the name competition.
Oh, great.
But I did a gig with a magician the other night. And I thought, could I be Houdini.
Oh,
That's great.
I could do magic.
That'd be great. If you spend the next 6 months learning magic.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Can you imagine a 6 months in magician?
Doing an hour.
Doing an hour.
I think that'd be really
It'd be
funny.
pretty
Actually.
funny.
Oh, thanks so much for joining us,
Thanks for
Lizzy.
having
Thank
me.
you.
That was awesome. I want to watch the movie now.
Well worth a watch, honestly. It's gripping. It's gripping.
Yeah, well,
And also-
it's one of the keys to mountain
Exactly.
climbing.
And it brings the story of what they're going through to life. Because I read the book first. And I'm kind of imagining the mountain a bit, but then you see it and you're like, in the recreations, you're like, holy shit.
Yes.
Like I couldn't have done the first meter of this thing. So yeah, anyway,
Yeah.
Lizzy Hoo, thank you so much for joining
Thanks
us.
for having me.
All right, we've said goodbye to Lizzy. It was emotional. She had to crawl, which she had broken her leg. She fell down the stairs.
They're very steep stairs here.
Very steep stairs. And yeah, people don't know this about Superdoll Studios, but the bottom is a crevasse.
Yes, so you don't want to slip.
Sorry, a cravat. It's a cravat.
The final form.
There's a big man in a big suit wearing a cravat.
It looks fantastic.
He looks fantastic. I wish I could pull off a cravat,
Me too.
but I can't.
Oh, I've never tried, so maybe I could.
Oh, that's true. I don't know. I feel like you got to have a real presence to pull off a cravat.
Yes,
Us weedy types. I don't
that's
know
right.
if
You gotta have a bit of heft with your cravat.
Yeah, I think you've got to either physically or at least charisma wise or something. And we are.
Well, what? -4 charisma points?
I
each?
think in terms of charisma, we're less cravat and more crevice.
Yeah.
We're just what's the word?
Crevasse.
Crevasse. Is that
Crevasse.
Crevasse. Crevasse.
Crevasse. I think some people do say crevasse.
I think that's the posh way of
Also, when you
saying
listen to the
it.
audio-
I've fallen into a crevasse.
The audiobook of Touching the Void, because I got the... I've read them all. I got the digital version, the ebook, I got the audiobook, and it's read not by the writers themselves, but by, other Englishmen, and they love a glacier.
A glacier.
Not glacier, glacier.
Oh.
The glacier down below. Only 100 feet to the glacier. They might have said crevasse.
I've not heard glacier
Crevasse.
before.
What we say, crevasse and crevice.
Have
and
you
crevasse.
have you
Sorry.
been watching the new series of the Time Bandits?
No.
It's like it's an Apple TV show based on the Michael Palin and who's the American Monty Python guy?
Terry Gilliam.
Terry Gilliam movie Time Bandits.
Oh, and Apple. I didn't even know Apple had made their own version.
Yeah, and I think there are 4 episodes out at this stage. There'll be more out by the time this episode comes out. But Felicity Ward plays the mum of the kid.
Oh, that's great.
Doing an English accent, but it's sort of the English accent that would be like glacier. Hey, glacier. I don't know what
Glacier.
it is. Maybe it's northern or mid. I don't know accents that well, but it's I could look it up. I'm guessing it's Midlands because I don't know what that means. But anyway, what are we doing, Dave?
We are thanking. This is everyone's favourite section of the show, of course.
Yes.
Welcome to those who have skipped ahead. There's an epic survival journey waiting you for the last 2 hours, but obviously you've skipped to this point with a reason. You want to hear us thank our beautiful Patreon supporters, the people that keep the lights on, that support this show and make us able to do it week after week after week. And they can go to, if you want to be one of them, patreon.com/dogoonpod.
Oh yeah. Get involved because obviously it's all those great supporters that keep this our main show going.
Exactly. Without them, we wouldn't exist.
We'd be nothing.
Exactly. Physically wouldn't exist.
Physically,
Gone.
puff of smoke.
We're in the ether.
That's right.
Our lives are in your hands.
But yeah, so there's a bunch of different ways you can get involved. They all are via patreon.com/dogoonpod,
There's a
but
bunch of different tiers.
there are different
All with
tiers.
different rewards.
That's right. Like your bonus episodes, you get to vote on topics. Was this one voted on? Or was
This was voted on. It was very close to. I put, like I said, 4 stories you might know from the movies up to the vote. And I think this won by 1 vote.
Wow.
Very, very tight at the top.
Yeah, also you get to go into the Facebook group, which is a beautiful spot. And we've just had a bunch of new members in there, and the vibes are fantastic.
Everyone's making themselves at home.
Hey, the water's real nice. Why don't you come on in
Come
for a
on
dip?
in. And you also get ad-free episodes.
That's right. But if you... and the D&D campaign now, so it's 4 bonus episodes a month. We've just done, I imagine, our first episode of what do we call it? Do Go On Movie Club.
That's right.
Which I'm going to put up the movie on a vote. I've probably already done it. We're messing with time here. We are the time bandits.
That's right.
But the first thing we like to do is talk about the Sydney Scheinberg level. If you're on that or above, you get to be in the fact, quote, or question section, which has a jingle, actually. It goes something like this. Fact, quote, or question. Ding. Oh, he always remembers the ding. And I, for the first time, remembered the sing. And to get involved in this, you, like I say, sign up on the Sydney Scheinberg level. You get to give us fact, quote, or question, or a brand, or a brag, or a suggestion. I guess you could give us a brand.
Yeah.
What would that look like, Dave? Just someone saying brand and then say Nike.
Nike, in brackets, pretty good.
Yeah.
Use it for running.
Do what you will.
Yeah, just tell us your brand. You can don't have to elaborate. You can tell us why you've told us, or you can just give us a brand.
Well, you can tell a lot about a man by his brand. I've heard. Anyway, you also get to give yourself a title. I read, usually 4, but sometimes less, depending on how many are in the hat at the moment. If you are on the Sydney Scheinberg level, please get them in. The FQQ sack is getting low.
Oh no, we prefer a bulging sack.
We love a bulging sack. The first one this week comes from Paul Meller, aka one-time operator of obsolete machinery. And
okay, thank you, Paul.
I think this is the first time we've had someone label their submission as an anecdote.
Fact, question, anecdote.
Are you ready for this?
Very ready.
Hi guys, I thought I'd share this with you all. You may find it fun. That's sort of up to Jess. Well, no, Jess is fine, Paul.
Stop asking. Don't
mention. Why are you bringing her up?
Don't mention her.
She's fine. And while she's not here, we'll decide what's fun.
Yeah, great.
And this feels right to me.
Yeah, but no one ever tell her we did this.
No. We're not afraid of her when she's not here.
Oh, God.
Hopefully it's interesting if nothing else, he says.
Great.
Paul goes on. Here goes. When I left school many eons ago, 1991, I worked as an apprentice engineer at one of the largest employers in Oldham, known then as British Aerospace. We got another silly-eyed missile man on our hands here.
Oh, my gosh.
I trained to be a machinist, and in my final year was given the task of running a machine known as a copy milling machine. The machine itself was very old and leaked oil everywhere and probably should have been disposed of years earlier. The factory had over 3,000 employees and made parts for the also now obsolete British Aerospace 146 jet. Now one day I'm busy working with my machine. I put the with in there, I'm sorry. I don't know why.
Working my machine.
Now one day I'm busy working my machine.
Oh, that's hardcore.
I'm 21 years old and I get a tap on the shoulder. I turn to look and there's a little old lady who must have been in her 70s standing there looking totally out of place in this busy factory. She's wandered over from a nearby group of people taking a factory tour. This is the kind of tour I'd love to go on.
Yes. Behind the scenes.
What are you doing there? Oh, making parts.
That'd be great if you were allowed to go up to any worker and tap them on the shoulder. You.
What do you do?
What do you do?
So who? I'm on the tour. Oh, okay.
Oh, so sorry. Let me explain myself to you.
I stopped the machine so I can hear her talk and ask if everything is okay. She said there was nothing wrong, but asked how did I like working the machine. When I said I suppose it was okay, she says to me it was her job to run the machine during the Second World War, making parts for the Lancaster bomber used by the dam busters, and she used to love it. I was amazed at the time and now wish I could have talked to her for longer. Wow. That gave me a funny little chill. Isn't that wild? You go,
yeah.
Just to feel like you're all of a sudden you're like, oh, this job that I just think is whatever. And now I'm like, oh, I've got a wild connection to a big historical moment. Anyway, she just walked off and the group disappeared. I sometimes think maybe I dreamed it. The factory, maybe it was a ghost. The factory has long since closed down, but the heritage lives on. Chatterton, I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced, where we live, is now coined the home of the Lancaster bomber, and there are photos of the production line available online. I never knew about it when I started there. I was just happy to have a job and learn a trade. Just goes to show you never know who people are unless you talk to them. What a wild world we live in. Loving your reports. They are better and sillier than ever. Take care, Paul.
Paul, that's a lovely story.
So good. So Dave, if anyone ever stops you, maybe you're doing warm up at the project, a little old lady comes up and says,
And I think, what's this lady going to interrupt me for?
Sorry, young man.
Oh, hello there.
Are you enjoying doing this, warming up this audience?
Yeah, I guess it's okay.
Oh, well, I used to warm up this audience in the war, and I loved it.
Really? Wow. She's gone.
She's gone. Thank you so much, Paul. It was fantastic. Next one comes from Michaela McRae, aka pod barista / tea brewer. Oh, loves a brew. /
2 hours on the brew.
Milkshake artist.
I love a milkshake. I'm glad you said milkshake because coffee, tea's not doing it for me. Milkshake, you got my attention.
Well, yeah, you're one of the boys that goes to the yard, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Michaela writes, we've heard a few times about what your coffee beverage order is, but I would like to know, where is your favourite place to enjoy a coffee, tea, milkshake or orange juice? Well, for me, could be all four.
At once?
For me, it's on the patio. Oh my God, that sounds great. I'd love to have one on a patio.
I'd love to have a patio.
Out on the patio, we sit.
Sort of stand. It makes sit sound
Well,
better.
there's only one chair. Oh, I'm sitting.
I
You're
stand.
standing. Yeah.
I stand. I'll wait for my turn.
As the sun starts to creep up over the next building on a winter morning, sitting at one of those glass top tables that every Australian has surely sat by at one point of their life.
Another one exactly you mean right now.
Often my cat will join me and we just quietly sit, listen to the goings on, and maybe watch some birds.
Oh, bird watching.
Oh, yeah.
Twitcher.
We know what you Twitchers are like. You're horny for them. On Who Knew It, that's one big thing I've learned over the 100 episodes. People who name birds are horny for birds.
Yeah, big-titted, whatever.
I love
The booby.
And then you read their descriptions. They're like, you can hear them burrowing up through their prose.
Silky, creamy fur. Fur. That's what I call feathers.
Final note, thank you so much for coming to Sydney. I hope the next visit is less than 2 years away. We hope so too.
Yeah, that was great fun.
Talking about doing a proper Australian tour maybe next year.
Yeah, doing it all.
Yeah.
Seeing the sights, seeing the big things.
Don't say seeing it all, Dave. People in places that we won't get to will think, all? Well, that includes dipping ships.
Dipping ships, population 4?
Yeah, I reckon we'll get the whole town there.
Actually, no. Chris says he's busy, but 3 out of 4 ain't
3 out
bad.
of 4. I'll bring the cat. Yes, it was bloody lovely to meet Jess and Dave for the first time. And no offense, Dave, but you're taller than I thought you'd be. Cheers. I hope you're not offended by
I
that,
am
Dave.
offended by that. It was so nice to meet you, honestly.
Thank you so much, Michaela. I met Michaela multiple times now, Dave. That's why I was left out of
You
that.
got left. Yeah. Did you
It wasn't that Michaela was saying, so
great.
nice to meet Dave and Jess.
I knew you had, but it's funny that people listening could have inferred that. It wasn't as nice to meet Matt. Honestly, he was a little bit offensive. But no, Michaela was wearing an orange Do Go On jumper, which are available. I can't remember the website. Spring are the people, and they're order on demand. So we basically, it's a third party. They print it for you, our design, and send it to you. I'd never seen an orange one before in my life, and I was so stoked to see it out there.
I think I might have seen a green one as well recently.
Yes,
are
there's a green
still
one there
available?
too. Yeah, they are still available.
Yeah, right.
You can have one shipped to your house in whatever colour you desire, as long as it's available. But there's quite a few colours.
Maybe message Michaela first if you want to check out the quality. I've never worn one.
You don't wear your own
I've
merch?
never had one.
Too proud.
Yes, I think I still think that's a faux pas. I know the Arnie Donna guys wear nearly nothing else, but they're a different breed.
Yeah, and they
in
have
so many ways.
They do have very nice merch too. Favourite place to enjoy a brew?
Brew, I love it. Yeah, at home. I'm guessing is that what that means?
Doesn't have to be at home. You could be like when you're on holidays and you like to have one.
There's something really nice about a cup of tea out in the morning sunshine.
Yeah,
and maybe doing like the the Wordles and the connections and the spanograms or whatever that one's called. All those New York Times games. Just quickly, something I've noticed in the New York Times since I've been playing these regularly for recent months, they are very patriotic. Because I reckon every couple of weeks there'll be a question.
What's the greatest country on earth?
Not quite, but it'll be like the most powerful force in athletics, and the answer's Team USA. And stuff like that. Like, what a weird thing to have.
But is that true?
I guess so. Why would they lie? It's just fun.
The fastest.
The Team USA has been the answer on like 3 different occasions, and it's been like the best of the best at something. I'm like, what a funny thing to have
really
inside
funny,
your own
yeah.
country. I can't imagine an Australian crossword being like the best, the best country for Aussie rules football. Yeah, just a bit of fun.
The best place to get a 4 and 20 pie.
Just feels like it's like when a country is the best like that. It's just funny to hear them.
Yeah.
Like it feels like insecure, which you wouldn't think they would be, because they are the best at a lot, like most sports. Anyway.
Well, at the time of recording, they're not doing so well on the Olympic table.
Oh, really? Well, by the time it comes out, they would have.
Yeah,
topped
they
it.
because the athletics is in week 2, where they are obviously sounds like they do
Australia
quite well.
always starts pretty well in
the pool,
swimming,
in the
which is
pool.
funny just to see on the board. But normally slip down at 10th or something.
Yeah, at the moment I think it's 3rd.
3rd, yeah. But
we are
for a country of our population.
Exactly, and I think we should be stopping the Olympics now.
Blow the siren, as I say when the Saints kick a point. And the first point of the game. Blow the siren.
That's it.
I don't actually say that, but it'd be very funny if I did.
I like taking an OJ for a walk.
Oh.
In the sun.
I forgot we were asked the question and that we hadn't really answered it. But yes.
Because I'm not a coffee boy, tea boy. Do love an orange juice, any sort of juice, or a milkshake. Not sure about walking with a milkshake because, the milk gets a bit gurgly, but walking with an OJ.
Milkshake's a sitting drink.
Yes, but along like an ocean foreshore.
I haven't had a milkshake in a long time. Since, smoothies have come around. I pretty much only have them, if any. But in the milkshake days, I think where I'd love to have a milkshake, when we do the American tour, one of those old school diners in that silver, that silver tin cup, the big cup. Just sit down and have one of those there. Maybe a Blue Heaven.
Oh, wow.
Is that a classic one?
You'll be in Blue Heaven.
Yeah.
My favourite's always lime.
Red, white and blue heaven. A very unique combination of colours for a flag.
True. Only one.
God bless the red, white and blue.
Only one on earth.
I love America. I don't know why. It sounds like I'm having a go. I just thought it was funny, the Team USA thing.
Yeah.
Team USA. Thank you so much, Michaela McRae. Next one comes from Patrick J. Early. The title, If I Told You, I'd Have to Thrill You. Is that Seal? No, that's U2. Kiss Me, Kill Me, Touch Me, Thrill Me. From the same Batman soundtrack.
Yeah, true.
Near.
They were going through a phase.
Near. And it was just another big phase. They must have thought, we could just, whatever we do will be big.
We'll do it. We can do anything. We're taking the piss at this point.
I like that song, but maybe it was just because it was, played in the cinemas with Batman.
I heard on a loud sound system and I thought, this is all right.
This is pretty good. That was before I think I realised that Batman was, I'd never heard of comic books. It was just a movie character.
Ah, interesting.
I've been listening to the History of Marvel on an audiobook with the thought, I downloaded it because I thought I was going to be doing an X-Men episode with Meso, but that didn't happen. But I'm still listening.
Has X-Men been mentioned much?
Yeah, a little bit. Unfortunately, Mace already did an episode about Marvel, so I can't. I can't believe he was able to break it down. This book at least goes into fine details, but I reckon I could pick out a topic from it.
But you remember when Meso came in and just did that off the top of his dome?
Wild stuff.
What a guy!
What a guy!
What a guy!
So yes, this one comes from Kiss Me, Kill Me, Love Me, Thrill Me, aka Patrick J. Early. Hello, mates. I have some questions for each of you if you're comfortable answering them. All right. Before we do that, I guess, who answers for Jess?
Should we come to a consensus?
I think we know Jess quite well.
Yeah, we've known her for ages.
Yeah, more than a third of her life. About a third of her life.
Wow. Makes you think.
But anyway, the first one's for me. Matt, I recall on episodes from years ago you talked about doing some sleep studies because you were having trouble sleeping. You potentially had sleep apnea. How's your sleep going these days? Did you figure out what was causing issues? I've recently started using a CPAP machine and it's pretty rough to get used to, but hopefully it'll eventually mean I'm not tired all the time. Oh man, yeah, I did test for sleep apnea and I have it in a mild way, which was wild because they're like, the study shows, I can't remember, but it was like multiple times an hour I would stop breathing and they're like, that's mild. I'm like, okay.
This is in the acceptable range.
Yeah.
You only stop breathing this many times per hour.
I don't think that wasn't quite acceptable, but it wasn't like dire. And they were sort of like, try the CPAP machine. I tried it for a month and I didn't feel any great benefits. And they were like, well, it's probably, they ended up, that sleep doctor was pretty much like, don't know what else I can do for you. Basically like, anyway, thanks for coming, you know.
Wow.
It sort of broke up with me a bit. I'm like, there's got to be other things we can try. I think we've tried everything.
Yeah, sorry, is that my phone ringing? I've got to go.
So I've been to so many different specialists. Since then, I've had my nose operated on, had that the straightened out inside and the
widened a little bit for breathing.
Hole widened up a little bit, which helped for a while, but I don't know. It feels like that's diminished. I've got an air purifier now in my room, which everything seems to. It's probably a bit of placebo, but it feels like it works for a little bit. But yeah, apparently like having any sort of, dust in the air and stuff can be bad. So I've been using that. I've tried this dental device that is molded to my teeth because that's one of the things is that your tongue drops back into your throat.
Oh my God.
So
it's funny how your body works against yourself.
Yeah, that's apparently what a lot of snoring is. So this thing is meant to bring my jaw, bring it out forward so that can't happen.
Did that work, do you think?
I'm still in the process because you get it and you adjust how far it's pushing it out bit by bit. So I'm sort of halfway through. It doesn't feel like it is at this stage, but I don't know. I'm also seeing a dietitian now. I've had blood tests. I feel like I've tried everything, but I still feel something is going to help.
Yeah.
I'm almost thinking about seeing if I can get my nose opened up even more. I don't know if that's possible, but because I feel like that was a little bit, but maybe even I just don't know.
Bore it open.
Yeah.
Get the biggest drill you got up there.
Snip it off. Yeah. Maybe I should just do it myself. Get a drill. We can do it tonight, Dave.
Yeah. Great. I just saw that docker where they're drilling into ice. How different could it be drilling into someone's nose?
Give me something to bite down on and I'll...
Yeah, well, you've already got that thing to bite down on for you.
Yeah, that's
sticking
right.
your jaw out.
And you got a couple of Panadol? A couple of paracetamol?
Yeah,
two. That should do it. But yeah, no. Well, I wish you all the best because I do know people, Patrick, who've absolutely changed their life with the CPAP machine. And it's just like, they feel like different people. And I'm still searching for my thing to do
Your
that.
thing.
But I'm the dietitian. I'm working on my routine with eating and stuff, and I think I'm making positive changes. They haven't as yet fixed the tiredness, but I think they're not bad things to do anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, good for other parts of your life.
I'm
health.
I'm not drinking caffeine, which is a bit harder, but I have a few decaf teas. I have occasional decaf coffee now. So I just like
You have one right now.
I'm having one
Listen
right
to
now.
him sip.
And it's, it basically tastes like a coffee.
Yeah.
Thank you for that question. Hopefully that wasn't too depressing of an answer. There was also someone years ago who DM'd me about this because I mentioned tiredness, a listener. And I went to it wasn't a doctor, but a different kind of thing. And it was all about breathing techniques and stuff. And she had this theory that I can't even remember what it was now. But it was the first time I heard I was a mouth breather, which is what I've been actively working on that by keeping my tongue up high and making sure I'm breathing through my nose at least as I'm going to sleep.
Oh, right.
And I'm just trying to make that my resting state without thinking about it.
So day to day, do you think you breathe through your nose? Like
Yeah, I can breathe through my... Since the operation, that's something... It definitely is better. It just didn't have this magic... You know,
You're
there's
right.
no magic...
You want it to be like...
I'm waiting for,
Oh my God.
you know, the silver bullet sort of solution. Here you go. This fixes everything. But, yeah. Anyway, I've been banging on that too long. But, yeah, someone did message a while ago, and I did see someone, and that I feel like that's helped some amount as well. But she said to me that... I can't remember what her profession was called. It was something I'd never heard of before. But she said she couldn't do anything more for me until I had the operation. So I should really go back and see if there's anything further down that path. Anyway, this question's for you, Dave. And he said, if you feel comfortable answering, he said, what's fatherhood been like for you? Has it been difficult balancing family life with work? What's your favourite thing about being a dad?
Okay, so I've been loving fatherhood so far. The time of recording just hit about 6 months.
Yeah, you don't want to commit to always enjoying it. What happens if by the time this comes out?
Yeah, so far. Yeah, it's very, very nice. We've been having a lot of family time. I've been working less this year than I have in any previous year.
From birth. This is the least you've ever worked.
Yeah. Which has meant more time being at home, with the baby, with my wife, just hanging out. One thing, it has been a little bit hard to balance sometimes work and having a baby, and that's even with my more flexible schedule. So I do feel for, some people have to go back to work. Either one or two parents go back to work straight away, and then you have to find care and things like that. So we've been pretty lucky that I haven't had to do that so far. And was there any other was there a challenge?
What's your favourite thing?
Oh, favourite thing. Well, speaking of, I love coming home from work and seeing the smile. It just lights me
on
up.
your wife's face.
Yeah, my wife's face.
Thank God you're back.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's smiling. Because I used to get, when Humphrey, our dog, was a puppy, he would run to he still does to a certain extent, but he would run excitedly to the door like, oh my God, you're home.
So nice.
And now I'm getting that from the baby, and it's just, that's just such a nice feeling.
They're running to the door. Very advanced.
Very advanced.
They're already wearing Nikes.
We're hoping for the Brisbane Olympics in 8 years.
Okay.
So.
8 years, yeah.
It's very, very fun. And then there are challenges with sleep was great for a while, and now it's getting a bit harder. But, you take it as it comes.
Yeah.
And I never want to... I feel weird about answering this question because it's like I've been a dad for 6 months. I don't know what I'm doing at all, but I know I'm having fun.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I never it would sound like I'm giving any advice for them because I don't know shit. But,
and I would imagine it's different for everyone.
Exactly. But I'm just trying to enjoy the moment as they come. And honestly, the 6 months, it's the fastest 6 months of my entire life.
Right.
And I've said this to a few people with older kids, and they've said, mate, it only gets quicker. So I'm like, how could it possibly? It's just gone like a flash. So, yeah, it's a good reason to look back and remind myself, just enjoy it.
I kind of feel like that's life in general too.
As you get older, I suppose it is,
older.
yeah. And 6 months is nothing.
Percentage of your
that's
life.
right. When you're 8 years old, 6 months is everything.
Yeah.
It's forever. But when you're 80, you're like, whatever.
Yeah, it's like it flashes by in a second. Yeah. The Jess question I think we can answer now that I've seen what kind of questions they are, very personal questions.
Oh, okay, great.
But it is about getting back on the bike after her accident.
Oh, okay.
But I feel like feel free to ask that one again and we'll put it to her in the future.
That's right, because Jess is fine.
Jess is fine. But at the time of recording, these are the last few facts, quotes, or questions in the sack. So if you ask that again, we'll ask her when she gets back. Otherwise, almost definitely will forget. Finishes by saying, sorry about the deep dish questions. Oh no, deep-ish questions. It's nearly lunchtime.
A lovely depth.
Hope they're okay, and no worries if any of them were more personal than you want to talk about on the pod. Yeah, I should say Jess is here. She said too personal.
She pre-read the questions.
Yeah. Have a great day out there. You too. Patrick J.
Thank you. The sun's just come out here. It's all looking up.
Oh man, I fucking love this time of year. And the last question, or what, I'm not sure what it is yet, fact, quote, or question, is from Jocelyn Kravitz. And Jocelyn's title is Purveyor of Encouraging News for Women Scientists.
Great. This sounds positive.
This is also a first time naming of a thing. What do we call those things? You know, the overarching, the fact, the quote, or a question. What are they? They're the categories or something?
Category. Yeah, a new category.
New category. Info brag.
Oh, like it. Fact, quote, or question, info brag.
So, Jocelyn writes, since my last women's health facts was such a downer, I decided to share something positive and brag a little while I'm at it.
Love it.
The goal of the National Institutes of Health's working group on women in biomedical careers, for short, I guess that's Nihilgigwabik.
Oh, Nihilgwabik.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm only familiar with the initialism there. That's great.
I think that's actually an acronym.
You're right.
You taught me that.
I know. I was actually saying all the letters in slow-mo.
Anyway, the goal of this group is to develop innovative strategies to support women scientists. I was the lead staffer for the working group, the person who made sure things that were discussed actually turned into things that were done, for 4 years in the late aughts. And while I was there, I initiated a number of programs, but since the government is slow, very few were fully realised by the time I left. I was recently looking at the website and saw that at least 3 programs and 2 online resources that I had a hand in creating were actually implemented and are still in use 13 years later.
Awesome.
And one of them is even using the name I came up with. That must be so satisfying. I feel like because how disheartening you put a short career into work, 5-10 years or whatever.
Yep.
And then you look back and all that work that you've done is just like the next regime comes in and goes, clean slate.
Exactly. Start again. Let's do another bit of research.
Yeah.
We've done the research.
Feels like
and you didn't do anything.
So much of government and that sector is
great. Thanks for that advice. We'll take it on board. No. The recommendations should be, acted on.
There's shows in Australia like The Hollow Man, sort of like that, but even more so Utopia, which is all about, and they have the recurring bit about politicians announcing they're looking into a fast rail between Melbourne and Sydney. And it's just something politicians are always announcing they're researching into it. And then the team on Utopia, they basically have to come up with a way to put it on the back burner. I haven't seen that show in a while. I think that's kind of the gist. Anyway, where am I up to? You have not used any paragraphs here. Jocelyn, I'm lost. So the Keep the Thread program provides NIH scientists options of increasing flexibility and reducing effort while remaining connected to their research and the NIH community during times of intense family needs. I know the idea of not losing your job because you or your partner has created an entire human person and needs some time away from work to deal with that sounds like a no-brainer. But then in the scientific community, especially in the US, the idea that you can spend any time out of the lab and still have a career is groundbreaking. Wow. Since I wasn't around by the time the programs were actually in place, I'm using my Patreon money to give myself a pat on the back I never got for doing things that help people. Thanks for making it all the way through another lengthy, but hopefully less soul-crushing post. That was great.
My soul feels uplifted.
Yes.
And congratulations.
My soul is singing right now, Jocelyn.
Yes, and
you know what song it's singing? Your Praises.
Oh, that's great.
It's a great tune. It goes a little something like this. Jocelyn, you did it. Great work, Jocelyn. Something like that. It's actually, in my head, it's even better than that.
Yeah, great. It's not quite how I remembered it, but I still love that. It's a great song. And yes, you definitely deserve the praise and some credit and great work actually making a difference. And it must be very satisfying to log onto the website like Matt said and said, hang on, they're still actually doing that. Love that.
Amazing. Thank you so much to Jocelyn, Patrick, Michaela and Paul for those fact quotes and questions. The next thing we do is thank a few of our other great supporters. And normally Jess, who's fine, comes up with a little game here to play based on the topic. Do you want to do that this week, Dave?
Oh, yes. Okay. I mean, some of the topic was very scary, but some of it was very inspiring.
Yes.
What are we thinking about? It's like cutting the rope.
Cutting the row. What would you cut? What about? I love how, and I'm sure we're making fun a bit of Simon's use of the word pathetic.
Oh yeah,
but I think maybe we could give them an equally inappropriate word to describe them. Like
describe a hero.
Joe was it Joe? Joe was he was being heroic. He just absolutely busted his leg in less than ideal scenario, and obviously proved in the days coming up that he couldn't be further from pathetic.
Do you think that's what inspired Joe to keep going? He thought, I've got to see Simon again so he knows I'm not pathetic.
Yeah, I know the kind of thing he'd write.
Yeah. He'll tell everyone I was pathetic.
So maybe I'll read the name. You tell me the feat that they've just done, and then I'll describe it in a really negative way.
Okay. Great. So
one word. I'll try and give it one word.
Uplifting, but also negative. Okay, I like it.
All right. So first up from Broome in Western Australia, it's Katie McMahon-Stevens.
Katie McMahon-Stevens has just saved not one, but 2 families from a burning building.
Pitiful.
Oh, Katie, I thought it was better than that, but apparently it was a pitiful effort.
Pitiful. I've seen people save families from burning houses, and they did it with a little more pizzazz.
Absolutely pitiful effort.
Thank you so much to Katie McMahon-Stevens. What a name as well. K-Mac MS. From Tucson, Arizona in the United States.
Oh, my goodness.
I'd love to thank Mark Watson.
Mark Watson. Okay, Mark Watson has just sailed around the world in a rowboat.
Hopeless.
Well, people thought it was hopeless.
You call that rowing? You'll never make it. He's made it? Well, he could have made it quicker. Thank you so much, Mark Watson.
Hopeless.
Was he
Mark Hopeless Watson?
Mark Hopeless. Was he inspired by that Australian Watson who sailed around
Jessica
the world?
Watson. Maybe that's what I was channeling there too.
Thank you so much to you, Mark. Dave, if you want to help me out here, I think Huelva, maybe from Spain. Huelva from Spain.
Yeah, it looks like it's from Spain.
Espanol. Please and thank you, Jessica Nicole Emmons.
Jessica Nicole Emmons, okay, has just completed. It's in the south of Spain. Fantastic. Looking at it now on the coast.
Oh, that'd be
Love
beautiful.
That. Yes. I'm going to say has just completed 1,000 push-ups in an hour.
Shit house.
I was going to say done a hell of a good job.
Well, you're the little saint on the shoulder. I'm the little devil, I guess.
That was a hell of a good job.
Hell of a good job, love. Hell of a good job. I can hear Jess rolling her eyes from here.
She's fine.
Yes, which you can do because her eyes are alive, as is the rest of her. From address unknown, can only assume from deep within the fortress of the moles. Please, and thank you to Alistair Dunsire.
Alistair Dunsire has just created a life-size statue of his entire family, but made of mashed potato.
Awful.
And it looks
awful.
It looks realistic.
Awful. Hack. Awful.
It took ages. Awful stuff.
Awful. I'm not full of awe. It is awful. From Durham in North Carolina. Quick fun fact there. They, in some towns, maybe one.
Possibly Durham, we don't know.
They have blue fire engines instead of red. Wow. Which makes sense because water's blue.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't start the fires. They stop them.
Yeah. So I think they've got it right.
Yeah.
Anyway, from Durham in Northern Carolina. Please and thank you to Joseph Keever.
Joseph Keever has just discovered a new plant that can be turned into a cream that will cure eczema forever.
Bore. You're a bore.
You're a bore.
You're a bore.
He's just cured eczema.
I'm using bore in the way of boring because it also means like a pig.
Yeah, that's
right?
great. Yeah.
Snoring
Is
and
it snoring and boring?
Oh my god.
That's great.
Oh my gosh, another member of the mole community, Andrew McLeod.
Andrew McLeod has just solved 4 Wheel of Fortunes in a row with a single letter, only a single letter revealed. Solve the phrases 4 times in a row.
Worthless.
What do you mean? They're gone. They're the bloody carryover champion.
You have no worth. You are worthless. Thank you so much, Andrew McLeod. Jeez, I wonder if it's... I think it's a different spelling, but I wonder if it's the dual Norm Smith medal winning Adelaide Crow legend.
Wow.
Could be.
Could be.
Could just be hiding in plain sight, changing the spelling of surname by a letter. From Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, go Penguins in the United States. Please and thank you to Monty.
Monty's just been given the keys to the Pittsburgh City for their charity work.
Shazen. gone European.
Shazen. Yeah, charity work is Shazen.
I think I'm running low on negative words. I'm having to go to the Germans.
Two to go. What languages have you got left?
I only know moderate to good words in Italian.
Okay, well, do you know the word?
Molto bene.
Not
molto bene. From another mole here, please welcome in H Mango 96.
H Mango 96 has just been nominated for the Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay.
Really?
Yes.
Is that the name for a movie?
Yeah.
H Mango 96?
No, that's the writer.
Wait, what?
H Mango 96, the person, has just been nominated.
Oh, that's what you're...
That's the achievement.
I'm like, have they named themselves after a movie?
Do they really roll around the world in a rowboat?
I'm really out of touch with cinema. There's a movie called H Mango 96. Secondly, nominated for an Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay.
In July or August?
Unwatchable.
H Mango 96, I loved it. I thought it was a great screenplay. Obviously, they butchered it. They butchered the adaptation, but the screenplay itself was fantastic. You got to admit that.
Unreadable. And finally, maybe this is where I was thinking Shazen. This might have been in my peripheral vision. From Germantown in maybe Wisconsin, WI, in the United States, it's Kyle Piwek.
Kyle Piwek has just had a new species of horse named after them.
New species?
A new species of horse.
New species of horse named after him. Absolutely dog shit.
Dog shit. The Kyle Piwek horse?
Yeah, look, it's not bad. I should have done this earlier. I'm now getting a thesaurus open.
That was the last one.
for pathetic. But it's pitiful came up first.
Great, you got that one.
Oh, no, these aren't good. Plaintive, stirring, affecting, distressing. What are you talking about? Upsetting, deplorable. That's pretty good. Inadequate.
Oh, that's really good.
Despicable. Contemptible. Wretched.
Substandard.
Substandard's good.
Second rate.
Lamentable.
Inferior. It's just so brutal.
But I think dog shit, would normally be in that list as well.
One comes up as, this is from the Oxford languages, so it does seem a little bit English. Synonym for bad. A load of pants.
That'd be the English.
I know, their version of pants. That's funny, though.
Yeah, like a load of jocks.
Yeah, a load of undies. It's an absolute load of undies.
What a load of undies you've proven to be.
That's a bit of fun.
What episode are we doing now, Dave?
This is 461, Matthew.
So there's just the one inductee into the Triptych Club this week. Do you want to explain what it is? This
is our Hall of Fame, our Theatre of the Mind club, where we induct people that have been on the shout-out level or above for 3 consecutive years. They've never dropped off. We've already shouted them out a few years ago, but to say thanks and to enshrine them forever, we put their name up on the honour board. We welcome them into our club. You can't leave, but why would you want to? And you get to hang out with all the other legends. We've got live music. We've got karaoke. We've got snacks. There's entertainment. There's lounges.
Table ice hockey.
Oh, yeah. There's ice hockey and air hockey. Both.
Yeah, we got one of each now.
Yeah, one of each.
I
To avoid
did-
any fighting between
I actually,
podcast
while
hosts.
Jess isn't here, I've frozen the other one as well.
Okay, we got no. Okay, sorry, we don't have any air hockey. The air has been frozen.
It feels appropriate this week. Just in case Simon and Joe pop by. You know, that's probably how they're familiar with... Oh, no, they're English. It's only really... Ice hockey's only really a thing. You know, someone tried to correct me saying it's not ice hockey, it's just hockey. But isn't hockey just hockey? Surely hockey came first and then there was an ice version of it. Or are these two... Or did it go the other way? It was first played on ice, or is it just two separate sports that...
I'm going to ask the internet right now.
Okay.
What came first?
It feels like surely hockey came first and then ice hockey was like, let's play hockey on ice. Like Disney on ice. Disney wasn't on ice first, was it? Wait, was Disney on ice first?
Yeah, then they took away the ice and they're like, what's left? Disney, I guess.
I guess. Let's should put this out as a cartoon.
I mean, a Quora article comes up, which is like anyone can answer, but someone said, it's a common misconception that ice hockey came before hockey. In fact, hockey is the original game with centuries of history behind it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the common misconception, I'm guessing, is happening in Canada. I don't think anyone else is misconceptioning that, are they?
Yeah.
Just like it makes sense. You play, you've got golf and then you've got mini golf. You know, go, I guess mini golf came first.
they thought,
oh,
we've actually got a lot more space than we thought.
Imagine how good this would be if it was even bigger. I think ice hockey is the mini golf equivalent, you know what I mean? It's sort of like a bit of a novelty thing. How funny would it be to play hockey on ice? That's funny. That's what ice hockey is. It's a funny novelty sport.
Yeah. Exactly. It's just a prank gone wrong.
Yeah, a bit of fun, and
Exactly.
it took off a bit.
It's still funny all these years later.
I'm still laughing.
Every time I see it, I think, what are
Hockey
they doing?
on
Hockey on
skates?
ice.
That's funny.
What are they doing
What
out
are
there?
they doing?
They're going to slip over.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, but funny.
But funny, that's
Very
right.
funny. So, Dave, you normally book a band.
Yes, absolutely.
that fair to say?
So excited this week to be welcoming into the Triptych Club. Now, I can't wait for them to be taking the stage this week.
Is it fair to say that you book these bands months in advance?
Months in advance. Months.
So usually they're not appropriate for the episode or anything, like we try and do with other things, but that's just because you try and book international acts to come to your club.
Yeah, exactly. And they take forever. They've got big schedules. They do festivals around the world. I can't believe it. And honestly, it's a little bit on the nose that they'll be performing their hit Ice Ice Baby. Vanilla Ice is here.
Oh my gosh. Can we get them to also play Go Ninja Go? Or
Absolutely,
whatever
yeah.
the Ninja Turtles Secret of the Ooze
He
track
said he'd
was?
do 3 songs of our choice.
And 2 of them will be
Ice
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 Baby.
Baby. When I saw him at a festival and he played Ice Ice Baby to start and finish.
That's so great.
As you should.
Embrace
Give
it.
them what they want.
Embrace yourself.
All right, well, I'm really pumped for that.
Okay, can I just read through Vanilla Ice's top 3 tracks on Spotify?
Yes.
320 million plays. Ice Ice Baby.
No surprise
97
there.
million plays. Ice Ice Baby.
Okay.
18 million plays. Ice Ice Baby dash radio edit. 9 million plays. Ninja Rap.
Ninja Rap, is that what it's called?
Yeah. But then if you go down to 7, it's back to Ice Ice Baby radio mix. So 1, 2, 3, 4 of his top 10 tracks are in fact Ice Ice Baby,
Well done.
including the top 3.
That's how you know a song is really good.
Yep.
That's like the Beatles used to do that. Have like the whole top 5 would be all them.
That's wild.
That's what Vanilla Ice is doing in his own.
In his own
That's how
his
impressive
own
that
catalogue.
is. He's his own Beatles. So we've got one inductee this week. Oh, Jess normally has a drink behind the bar. I'm going to say snow cones this time.
Awesome.
You can get them alcoholic or no. And we are doing all 3 flavors: red, green, and blue.
Whoa.
Is that what right? Purple, blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a tribute to Tom Cruise climbing the Burj Khalifa.
Yeah.
Red means bad, blue means good, we
Red
think.
means dead.
Okay, great.
Blue means glue.
Great.
That's how you remember.
Good.
All right, so just one inductee. Thank you so much for your support over the last 3 years. What a legend from Toyohashi. Oh, by the way, Dave is up on stage.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I hyped these people
Ready to
up.
hype
Yes.
them up. So if you hear your name, run on in. Everyone else is in the club will be cheering your name. while Dave hopshot with some wordplay. It was normally pretty weak based on your...
Well, I've been taking
Location or name.
some tips from Vanilla before he takes the stage, so this could be good.
From Toyohashi in Japan, please welcome in Ashley Bartholomew.
More like Cashley. Boo, 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 boo.
That is good.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Ashley Bartholomew, welcome into the club. Make yourself at home. Hey, it looks like one of the ice hockey tables is free if you want to go have a play. But make yourselves at home. Grab a either a Virgin, which they'll be having, or a a very active snow cone, which I'll be having.
A little bit too active, honestly. Someone should be putting that snow cone away for a while.
There's a few bits on there that we're not sure. We probably should get checked out.
yeah, but that's next week's problem.
Welcome in, Ashley, and thanks for listening, everybody. What a pleasure it's been once again, Dave.
Hey,
Lizzy Hoo, what a great guest.
Lizzy's the best. You should go watch Lizzy live. Do yourself a favour.
Yes, she's a big rising act here in Australia. Well worth a look.
Definitely. When she comes to town with her next year's festival show, make sure you get some tickets. And
you'd be able to check out Clips of hers online as well. But I'd love to see some photos of people buying that hat. She said she's only got a few left. Asian gracefully. It's such a funny idea for merch. It's like it doesn't have a name on it at all. It's very specific to her turning 40. It's such a... I love it. Anyway, anything we need to tell people, Dave? Please follow us on Instagram, Do Go On Pod, on TikTok, Do Go On Podcast, I think. But just follow us on all those things. Apparently it helps us when we're looking to tour and stuff. Makes promoters feel more like people will turn up.
Exactly. Makes us look good. Makes us feel good. And you can get in contact anytime with us via our website, dogoonpod.com, with all the links to everything you need, Patreon, how to suggest a topic, that kind of stuff. dogoonpod@gmail.com is our email address. But until next week, we'll say thank you so much for listening. And until then, thank you and goodbye.
Later.